All right, cool. Make sure. Make sure live here. It's going to be pretty cool. All right, man. Good afternoon, good evening, good day, good morning, good night. All depends on where you're located. Again, another episode of the UFL presents the Owner's Box, man. The only CFM PS4 league with its own that I know of talk show, at least that I know of. Where we talk all things the league and all things Madden. Episode 18, man. I want to call this episode "Playing to Win." Also have a great special guest with me. Finally got him on the show. Tried to get his brother on, but his brother's living that married life. You know how that goes. We basically got the ball and chain early, so unfortunately couldn't be here currently. We got Wild Boar, aka Aaron, the Raiders. You've been the Raiders for pretty much the whole league, right?
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Right.
Adam's actually a Raider fan too. We've all been Raider fans in our family ever since the get-go, but basically I got there first. I was actually I would say after Bill, Ronnie, and Cletus.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's anybody else that's been around that long, but I think me and Adam are the other two. Like, we were the next two in line that have been there the longest. And Adam's had some different teams along the way. He was the Vikings, I think, when we first started. I remember he took a break for a while. He came back as the Saints, and then we wanted to play in the same division, so he took the Chiefs, which I guess for us is the least loathsome of the AFC West opponents that the Raiders usually face. I don't think either one of us would ever go for like the Denver Broncos or anything like that. But
Right.
But yeah, I mean, and there's leagues I've joined in the past, and if I can't be the Raiders, then it's for me it's kind of takes half the fun out of it. So
No, that makes sense, man. How long you been playing, man? Like, give us your background, your Madden background. How long you been playing? How long you been playing in leagues, things like that.
I think the first game, I remember Adam had a PS2 and we got Madden in 2003, so we had some fun with that. And I think it's kind of late getting like a next gen system and everything like that. But I've played every Madden since that time. Probably before that, and I don't know how many people actually caught onto that on the profile pictures me and Adam had. Before that was all about Tecmo Super Bowl for us. Of course, Bo Jackson back in the day and everything. I was probably
On the first one. That's the first one.
That's right. So, but yeah, I'd say probably since 03.
Okay. Yeah, showing your age there with that Tecmo Super Bowl. Tecmo Super Bowl with the second one, where it had all 32 teams, and the first one had only like the 8 teams or whatever. And Bo Jackson was out of control.
That's right. I mean, if it shows my age, I don't really mind so much because that is still the king as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. After a while, it's like you couldn't pick them. Like nobody could pick. You pick any team you want. You just can't pick the Raiders. So I remember that. Man, let's talk about a couple of things here. You had a real good year last season. But came up short, man. You want to talk about that? I think you were pretty high. You went under the radar. I know I called y'all early, and then you ended up dominating the AFC pretty much. And then in the playoffs, came up short. Even though you became, late in the season heavy favorite. What went wrong in the playoffs?
Well, kind of avenged that last night, I guess. I had Browns in the playoffs, and I know he's kind of had a rough stretch this year, but as far as I'm concerned, he's still one of the top players that I've squared off against. Especially when he has Garrett and he moves them all around the field and everything like that, definitely makes it so you don't have too much time. You can't get too comfortable. But last year, and that's kind of why I get all my shit talking in during the regular season, because during the playoffs, the last couple of times I've been, I haven't exactly followed up on the success I've had in the regular season. But I think that in that last playoff game, and I don't recall the particulars, but I just remember, just kind of making some uncharacteristic mistakes. One thing I pride myself on anymore is not like throwing interceptions, not making silly plays. The things that you kind of think about while you're doing them, and then it's like, oh, I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't do it. I'm doing it anyway. And I kind of did a couple of those things. I remember last year, um, it was like on a third down, kind of in by the goal line and all that stuff. And he's able to get pressure with his front four. He doesn't need to blitz too much. And I really wanted to get that touchdown. I was like on the first, second drive of the game, and I probably should have taken the points, but I saw Hill coming around on a circle route. He had his backers right there, and I just threw it anyway. And definitely wish I didn't after that time. He actually, I remember it well. I mean, he didn't take too many risks. He said he was kind of playing scared, but he definitely played like a really smart game, and he kind of took his shots when he had to. He got his running game going. I remember I had a couple bad penalties, doing the strip ball thing, and then of course you get all these bogus face mask calls. But yeah, I just remember that aspect of it, and then of course after couldn't get those early points, it was kind of hard because his rush is going strong, and I think he got up one score on me, and then I couldn't make up the ground. So
Yeah.
It was tough, but hopefully I can bounce back from this year. I feel like after this last game I played against them, I feel like mentally I think that was something that I need to kind of get over a little bit if I'm to take it a long ways here.
Yeah. And I know before we started the show, you teased your brother about always kicking his butt, but I think he actually beat you this season, right? No, like normally you do win, but then this season he seemed to win. You guys only played once though, right? So you might split. How you feel? You feel like he might sweep you? You might split?
No, we actually did play twice already.
Okay.
We played a couple of weeks ago, and I got that win back. And yeah, I always like to give him grief about that, about me owning the head-to-head, at least in this iteration, because I think maybe last Madden, we probably split, and then probably the Madden before that, and Madden before that, he probably had the better win-loss against me.
Okay.
But yeah, with this first game here, and I put that one thing down about his guy lurking in that red kickoff logo, which was kind of funny. I thought there's a couple weird things that happen in that game. There always do seem to be a couple weird things that happen when we play each other, but yeah, with him and me, we know each other so well. We played each other so long that even though I have beat him, I'd say probably like 75% of the time in this Madden, it always just comes down to like one possession. It's never a blowout or anything. So, I mean, we're pretty evenly matched, I would say, in that way.
Yeah. Plus, you guys play each other twice a year, every Madden. There's only so much you can do to switch up without going too far left in your game plan and still try to win the game. So, eventually, you guys are going to split, or he'll get your number, or you'll have his number. So that's cool. I mean, you coach in real life, right?
Yeah, right. Put my hat back on here.
Yeah. Is that what level of coaching are you? Like high school coach, college coach?
I coach. I'm the head football coach at Lone Tree High School in Lone Tree, Iowa. So it's actually an 8-man team. Kind of like it's a small town and everything, about like 1,200 people and all.
Oh, okay.
So, and we did. It was my first year as a head coach. I was like the assistant coach like 2 years before that. But we had a really good squad this year. I went to the first round of the playoffs. Had a kid make all state. Had a couple other guys that probably should have made all state, but it was a really good time. And I remember Strawn being on here before, and he says that that kind of helps you out with Madden, and that's no joke, really.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. That was my next question. How much of real life versus Madden? Like, because people say like, oh, you guys, the Madden plays don't work in real life, or stuff like that. How true is that? I mean, how much of the game mimics the real game from a coaching aspect?
Well, and of course we're talking about high school here, so it's the player's not going to be quite as talented in high school as they are in Madden, I suppose. Sometimes I kind of prefer high school to Madden just because you can tell somebody to do something in high school, but you can't really do that in Madden.
Yeah.
I guess.
But as far as play calling goes, the play calling, the cover threes, the cover twos, I mean, it's still football 101, right? Much of that can still be translated into the real game.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, for me, it's a little bit different anymore because 11-man, of course, a lot different than 8-man. when I, in the games that, we have as a staff and, for my players and everything, it's football, but it's a little bit different. I mean, we won games by a score of like 77-38, 63 to like 36, stuff like that. So it's a little bit different. And, a lot of things that you can do, like an 11 man, like disguising coverages, doing different things, you really can't do it because you don't have a third level of defense. We, when I first got, to coaching at Lone Tree, we were 11 man, and I pretty much ran zone every single play. I was like our base defense when I was the defensive coordinator there. And then after that, we switch over to 8 man. I realized real quickly that the zone's going to be too spread out. It's going to be too hard to communicate, that sort of thing. So we went from playing exclusively zone to exclusively man, and it's so tough because you have to have you got 4 eligible receivers, so you can't necessarily you can't just let a guy go open. You can't just turn a guy loose. And I feel like you always have to have 3 rushers because you want to have a guy from the left side, a guy from the right side, and then somebody coming up the middle. Otherwise, you just leave obvious running lanes open for the quarterback. So
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those things where you don't, like, that part of the game doesn't translate so much, and you're not, when you're doing like your practice sessions, not like you're teaching the guys on your team technique or anything like that in Madden. But the one thing, and it's more mental than anything. I think the one thing that I take away most from coaching football in real life to coaching Madden is just, having to stay on the level, I guess. And that was one thing that I didn't do against Browns last year. I kind of got out of my game a little bit. And even though we had a really good even though we had a really good season last year for our football team in real life, the games that we did lose, it was easy to see why. We just turned the football over. You had guys making mental mistakes. And, when you're dealing with high school kids, it's a little bit tough to kind of, convince them otherwise. But it's like one of those things that if you do something bad, it kind of snowballs, and it's kind of hard to get out of that funk.
Yeah.
And, we won games like that too. We won a game against a team that was, one of the better ones in the state. And we pretty much did it by jumping on them early. And, we were 2 really even matched teams, but just having that momentum right off the bat, I mean, that really does something for you. And when you can get somebody out of their game plan, that's what makes things kind of tough. And, anymore, I mean, that's kind of the attitude that I take into Madden, just that, okay, yeah, if something happens, if I turn the ball over, if something goes wrong, get some penalties, something like that, I know I can still win with what I've been doing. I'm going to continue on with what got me here, and I'm not going to just change everything on account of having like one bad series or one bad quarter, one bad half. So just trust your skills and then just take it from there.
Yeah, and I do want to give you credit because me and Ty talk about it all the time. I got like for myself, your brother, Cletus, the Green Bay owner. There's one thing that we all have in common is the playing at a level consistently. You seem to do that well. Your brother seems to do that well because even when you guys may not have a great season in the start or things like that, you always end up in the playoffs. And then once you get in the playoffs, things happen. Things might not happen, but you're always there. Like, we talked about it the other day, off on the phone. Like, if it's 3 guaranteed slots that I know are taken in the AFC, is you, your brother, and Cletus. Everybody else is pretty much gonna have to fight for them. So to be able to hear you say that you have that same mindset in Madden, and it still can translate a little bit into coaching high school football is kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of dope. So I played a little bit of 7-on-7. And I know what that's like. We play that here in the summertime before the season starts. So, 8-man is kind of cool. I think you might have like one more extra receiver or maybe one more extra guy on defense than we have. It's 11-man team during the season, but just during the summer league or whatever, we do 7-on-7. So that's definitely kind of cool, man. I appreciate that feedback on that. And let's talk more things, man. But where do you rank, or how do you feel like the AFC is this season?
I don't know, I guess things are shaking out. It's kind of similar to what I thought they might. One thing that does catch me by surprise is, of course, Browns just being down there where he is, 3-6. Excuse me. And I don't know who exactly he all played. Got my computer up so I can take a look without sounding stupid on here, but because he plays a solid game, and I know he had Bill first game, he had Redskins, still kept that one close.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like he kind of had, golly, he really had a rough stretch actually with the
Yeah, he
guys
actually
that he was playing. So
played a lot of top players this season early too. So
oh, exactly, yeah, and I think that he's just kind of talking to him on the phone a little bit or texting back and forth. I think he's a little bit frustrated, but he's a guy that I'm never going to take him lightly for the rest of the time that we're playing, no matter what his record is.
yeah,
So he's a guy I'm surprised to see down a little bit. As far as the rest of the league, yeah, Cletus at the top, not really a surprise. Jags where he's at. I mean, he was a solid player last year too. I feel like the AFC North is kind of always a little bit of a crapshoot. I know that Bill's always going to compete in there, but seems like there's always kind of a revolving door of players there too. So, and it's so hard for me to kind of keep up sometimes just because I used to be a lot more involved in the admin chat, a lot more in Madden in general than I am right now, which is kind of strange because, I hate, this is probably the best I've been in Madden since we've started this league up. But I think it's also fair to say I started off with probably the most talent that I ever had too, because it's not like the Raiders were coming off a 3-13 season the year before, so they had several factors in place already, or several players that could already go. And then of course, yeah, Adam, who he's just kind of lying in the weeds there at the 6th seed right now, but
yeah,
you
we've seen
can
that.
never sleep on him.
Yeah, we've seen how he went from wild card to Super Bowl champion. So that's never the case with him. What's shocking to me is two things. Titans said that he was actually going to improve, and he's actually doing that. He's actually currently above 500, and the Pats owner being down, 4-5, under 500, because he's had the talent. He's had the wins, and last season he had a great season, but then he loses Brady, and now we find him here under 500. Do you think he bounces back from that, or do you think Brady was really his bread and butter, and without a Brady type player, he's not going to be as dominant as he once was?
Yeah, it's tough for me on Strawn because me and Strawn have been playing a long time. He's been in the USFL probably about as long as me and Adam have, and actually he used to be the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I haven't played Strawn, I don't think. Maybe I played him in the first season here on this one, and I hadn't played him too much recently, I know. But I just remember from years past that, and no disrespect to Strawn, obviously, but I used to, 2 times a season, I used to feel like, yeah, I can definitely take that game pretty easy. And there's a couple times where he'd definitely put the brakes on that every now and again. But and I know, and he usually had a really good defense, but I just remember he had a hard time scoring points back in the day. So that was pretty wild for me last year to see him scoring 35, 40 points a game, having guys like Cooks and Dion Lewis kill as much as they were. So, it's kind of tough for me to say with Strawn. I guess I'm not 100% sure. I do remember watching a couple of his games on film and seeing that, like watching him play Cletus and such, and thinking that, yeah, he's definitely developed as a player a little bit more. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess until I play him myself and kind of I'm able to see, okay, well, how exactly does he stack up against what I'm doing here? That's probably when I'll know.
Yeah, no, that's fair to say. Just based, I mean, to me, he is one of the most improved of this league. Because I remember it was a time where he was like not making the playoffs. The record wasn't all that great, but now it's like, we're talking about him being, in the playoffs consistently. Is he that type of player? Things like that. So I just wanted to get your idea, your perspective, because you more AFC. I'm more aware of what the NFC is doing. How do you feel about the NFC? And are you impressed by anything this year in the NFC? I know you played my division this year. I think the Panthers played you a little tough, but you ended up winning that game, right?
Yeah, I kind of feel bad about that. Now, of course, if I'm playing Adam of course, I've never won a game fair and square in my life, according to Adam. I mean, I'm always lucky. I always luck out when it comes to playing
Right.
him. So, but that's his two brothers going at each other. Of course, it's the same way whenever he wins. But I mean, I really feel like Ronnie. I mean, and he has like a rookie quarterback. He has like a rookie wide receiver, so I suppose that counts for something too. But he had so many bad breaks that game. It was unbelievable. Just the quarterback totally airmailing balls. I do remember I had like one user pick six, which I probably shouldn't have had because my guy was kind of in the trail position, but it just seemed like he kind of morphed into position, was able to get the ball, just 41 yards back for a score. Bruce Irvin, of all people, and he ain't a guy that you're expecting to do that too often, I guess. I think I returned a fumble for a touchdown too, like 3 defensive touchdowns or something. But and it's only been him and Saints. And Saints, that game was kind of weird because he jumped all over me at first. Like he had like a 75-yard run for a score. I threw a pass in the flat that I thought would get there, but he had a guy that just made a great play on it and took that back. But then after that, yeah, just as I mentioned before, just kind of settled down, just played my game and ended up winning it kind of handily. So
yeah, I talked to him about that too. I was like, man, you was all over the Raiders, and all of a sudden, like something changed and the game went down. Like the momentum changed or something changed, and it was like a whole different thing. Here you came, you know, being down. Like I know when I'm down or whatever, and especially when it's a game where you think like, because you feel pretty confident you're gonna win. You jump down, it's like, okay, like you said, let me settle down, let me get this thing going, let me get this thing rolling, and then certain players can either keep the lead and win out, or they'll crumble in that when as you build your momentum back. And he actually folded, and I reached out to him like, damn, I thought you were gonna win that thing, but then the Raiders started coming back. You had no answer, like nothing he could do could stop you from coming back after that.
He had like a couple and he had like one really long run and like one really long pass. And I don't know what what the situation with my defense. It's strange because I feel like I usually get gashed like once or twice a game on really long plays, but that's okay because I feel like my defense is top rate and they can pretty much lock it down besides those 2 or 3 plays that might come about. And that's kind of what happened, I guess. And then, yeah, I think that another thing too is that, and I mentioned this, that didn't want to change my game here. I think some guys really do just take themselves out of it because, especially when you get down like that, everybody wants to throw the ball deep, middle of the field, just take their shots, stuff like that. But if you realize you have the time, you don't have to necessarily rush. Just go about making your reads. I feel like more than anything, that's kind of what takes guys out of ball games the quickest because you start panicking, you start making all these deep throws, you start just trying to go for the home run ball, just try to make it up all in one play, and it's usually not going to work out too well for you if you go about it like that, because that's when you get interceptions and that's when things really start to unravel. But yeah, I was just lucky. I just kept on playing my game and things changed around for the better, I guess, for me.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good game to watch, and to see you come back and be able to come back from adversity, especially as you said, them two deep gashes. And it's funny. I played the Detroit Lions, man. Shout out to him. I mean, he played like he wasn't 0-7, or whatever. His running back T.J. Logan was like the ghost of Barry Sanders, man. When we played our game, and I didn't even want to kick him the ball all after I scored a touchdown. I mean, his running back was phenomenal, man, and his defense was hitting. My players were dropping things; they were stripping everybody. But like you said, I just had to keep my focus, continue playing my game, and just see if he can stay with his and things like that. And I just found a way to win and end up pulling away. So I know exactly what that feels like. Did you watch the Eagles and the Giants game when Ty played the Eagles and he beat him to stop his record?
Oh no, I didn't. That was a good game, right? I mean,
the Eagles kind of, the reason why I call this episode "Playing to Win" because the Eagles kind of did exactly what Jacksonville did to the actual Eagles in the playoffs. They kind of,
or the Patriots, mean?
I mean, Patriots. Yeah. Where they kind of they took their foot off the gas. Ty was up, and the Eagles didn't call timeouts, didn't try to stop him when he could have. Forced to kick the field goal, came down and won the game by a touchdown, but he didn't do that. He actually just let the clock run out, and the game was over. He just lost by 3, and I don't know what his mindset was behind that. And to do that and take his foot off the gas, and then ironically, to see Jacksonville do the same exact thing. Was it the Jacksonville? Or didn't the Vikings had a chance before halftime to kick a field goal to do something and they didn't, and the Eagles came back or something like that? It was one of them games, but it was ironic. It was the same thing that happened in the NFL. What is your mindset when you're up? Do you continue to hit the gas, or do you tend to become more conservative? It depends on your opponent. What factors are your mindset going in when you're up late in the game?
I don't know. I mean, for me, I like to run the ball anyway. I mean, if I can take that, and I try not to change things up too much, I guess. I like going back to the Jacksonville game against the Patriots. I guess I can't speak too much to that just because I don't know. I guess I know I've heard a lot of people talking about it, but I don't know if there's anything that tangibly changed. Like I heard one of the cornerbacks. I thought it was maybe AJ Bouye or Ramsey saying that they just started playing a lot more zone towards the end, that sort of thing. And it kind of does depend, I guess, who you're going against. If you're going against Tom Brady and you shut him down for the most part in the first half, then I'd say just keep on doing what you were doing before because otherwise he's going to make you pay. There has been situations though, and I go back to that Browns game I played against him last year. He really kind of did take a conservative approach, but the way I saw it, he was playing cautious. I remember a couple of years back when I was playing hard work when he was in this league, and he was a killer. He was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And that may have been one of my finest Madden moments, but I just remember it was like a 10-7 game, and I was just desperately holding on towards the end. Just run the ball 3 times, punting it, and then just playing good defense and going about it that way. Yeah, it's tough. I don't think there's really a general rule. I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, and I've been in that situation before too, where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make the kill shot right here. I'm gonna keep on going, and then it just totally backfires on you. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it depends on a number of different factors, I guess. I mean, probably greatest of which is where you feel your strengths lie, I suppose. Because I know, like for our team, for our football team, I mean, there was times last year where I'm like, oh yeah, we can take advantage of this guy here. We're running this play well and we can do that. But then there's some games where it's just like, okay, yeah, our defense is controlling the ball, so let's just go ahead and do it. Let's just go ahead and go about it that way. And yeah, it's tough. I don't know if I have an answer for that.
Yeah, I know playing the Vikings, and he was up by 20. I tried to come back, and I was hoping he would just get more aggressive to play in my hands, and he didn't. He started playing more and more conservative, and was taking less shots. He wouldn't really throw anything past 10 yards. So I thought that was really, really smart on his aspect, as I was trying to come back and just capitalize off every mistake, hoping that he would just get more aggressive. And he didn't. Shout out to him for playing like that, because a lot of guys in that situation, they don't. They, like you say, you always go for the kill shot. I'm up 15 or I'm up 20, and I just got the ball back off the interception. I'm gonna just this very next play go and try to throw a Hail Mary or a deep post or a deep something. Yes. So yeah, I know how it is. Yes. What you need? You want to come up here? All right, come on. Okay. That's all right. So I know how that is. My apologies. Where do you have Who has it? Who do you have? I know, man, you played week 17. I think this will be our first time going head to head in this Madden, right?
Yeah, and I mean, did we play before previous Maddens? I guess I have a hard time remembering these things sometimes.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, it's very rare. That and your brother. I only see you guys if we ever make it to the Super Bowl. I never really, somehow I always avoid that.
I don't. I would I as I mentioned, I talk a lot of crap now just because I've only actually been to the Super Bowl once. I'm going to change that this time around. And when I did go to the Super Bowl, it didn't go too well for me. So but I think I've improved a lot. So hopefully things change. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've been watching you. I'll tell you that much. I mean, I see all those balls of Julio and everything. So,
Yeah.
well, that's your. Hopefully I can get you to put luck on the bench.
Oh
Go with
God,
the bullpen or something.
if the backup comes in, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? He's just there to fill a roster slot. He's not there for no other purpose but to fill a roster slot.
Well, if you
So
don't pull him, then hopefully I can tell Khalil to, rough
yeah,
him up a little bit extra for
yeah. I
you.
noticed that you have him at end, right? He's not a linebacker. He's at the end.
I mean, I think he started out this game at outside linebacker, but in real life, he's more or less defensive end exclusively. And who knows how things are going to be with Gruden and the guy that he's
Yeah.
bringing in. But
But I mean, how you run him on your team on Matt here? You run him as a linebacker, right? I mean, he still gets a ton of sacks.
no, I got him at D end. I know like
Oh,
you're a 3-4 guy, but I've always been like a 4-3 guy,
yeah.
and I usually do kind of play like that over under front. So, it's usually kind of like a 5-man. It's kind of like a 4 or excuse me, a 3-4, but I always want him being my edge guy just because, I mean, as good as he is at stopping the pass, he's even better at sealing
Right.
the edge and not letting guys outside. So,
Yeah.
he's the reason why I do as good on defense as I do.
Yeah, I watched the defense, man. They're very impressive with him. I tried to concept where I try to use Vic Beasley as him, like where you put that linebacker, the guy with the finesse move and things like that at the edge. But for me, 4-3, it's weak. It seems to be weak after you do the second level. Once you get past that front four, it seems like the rest of the defense is weak. Yeah, right. Um, so it's tough for me. I haven't mastered that 4-3 type of scheme or putting my best linebacker at the end. I'd rather have him on the field making plays. But I seen it works for you. Derek Carson will be playing very good for you. Yeah, it seems like you have all the pieces going for you this season. Like I mean, this season and last season. I look forward to that matchup of Week 17. Hopefully, I can just see you making mistakes. I see you haven't really made that many mistakes this season.
That's kind of, and I think that's the key to my success, honestly. And yeah, Adam's that's why when me and Adam play, I mean he's usually able to trick me maybe like once or twice, and of course he has Peters and Barry, and those guys will. I mean, it's kind of hard to get away with too much with those guys on the back end, but I mean I think that I kind of got away from doing that. Okay, I'm gonna make. Yeah, I shouldn't do this. I'm gonna do it anyway. Now when it comes to something like that, check it down. I know that like Hill probably has more receptions on my team than anybody else, just because if it's not there, I'm not gonna try to force it in and have the game totally turn around, something like that. Punting's not a bad thing necessarily,
Yeah.
and yeah, it just when you're able to avoid that critical mistake, I think that's when guys really have a hard time because it's like, okay, I got to play 4 quarters and I got to make sure that I'm playing well. So if you're able to do that, I think you're going to win a lot more than you lose.
Yeah. Now you have 2 losses. Who are your 2 losses to this season?
So yeah, Adam was the first one, and that was the first game of the season. I lost by 3. Probably should have lost by more, just because I feel like, yeah, I had to pick 6 and everything. I think I had like a couple fumbles, stuff like that. Just wasn't exactly my day. And then the other one was from the wedding, actually. I went on CPU, and Doc beat my CPU 20-17, I believe.
No, okay, yeah, I know what that's like. I had a sim loss to the Titans last year, and then I think I lost to I lost to Jacksonville, so I only had one loss as well last season. So I know what that sim loss is like. Daddy Leagues has you at power ranking number 9. How do you feel about it? You don't really care. You focus on something bigger than that. You look at that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care, I guess. I mean, it's just a computer coming up with something. So
Type of stat. Yeah, I get it. No, I definitely get
yeah.
it. Well, I got you on. Can I get your picks for week 11? We have 49ers and the Vikings.
Yeah, okay. Geez. Kind of a tough one to start off with. Are we on week 11 then? You said or
No, we're on week 10, but there was some of them games I've already played, so I was gonna go ahead and just say,
okay. I don't know, man. I mean, I know Creasy's 7-1, but it just seems like every time I look at the ticker, seems like I don't even know how you pronounce his username, whatever.
Creasy.
No, the 49ers guy. It's like BLVK.
Oh, that's Wop's brother. That's Wop's little brother.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of a toss up. I'm just like every time I see on the ticker 49ers, it just seems like he's wasting somebody. So yeah, I'll go with him. 49ers.
Okay. And the Bears and the Lions. Oh, let me pick my. I'm gonna go with the 49ers. I think he's gonna probably deep ball the Vikings to death. And I've deep balled the Vikings during that game, and he didn't really stop my deep ball. So I don't think he has enough to stop the 49ers deep ball. So I'm going with the 49ers. Then we have
I don't know as much about him, but like and Creasy's a good player, but I don't know. I mean, just something inside me. I'm just gonna go with the 49ers, I guess.
okay. Then we got Lions and the Bears. Oh my.
I mean, Lions is 0-8, so I guess I'll go with the Bears.
Yeah. I'm gonna actually go with Detroit, man. I mean, if he can play me like he played everybody else, he I don't know, man. Maybe my defense can't stop the run this season or something. Maybe Miles Jack is a kryptonite or something on my defense, and I think he's doing good. But he can play like he played me. I think he might sneak that win in. I'm gonna actually see. I'm gonna go with him that week over the Bears.
I remember Bears played me pretty tough last year. I think it's still the same guy, so I don't know much about these NFC matchups, but I'll just go with the Bears.
Okay, so let's go with this Jacksonville and Bengals matchup. Jacksonville 8-1.
Uh-oh. I got a new challenger here. Jacksonville and let's see. Yeah. Jacksonville, he's playing pretty well. Bengals not doing quite as well here, so yeah, let's go with the Jags.
Okay, hold on. We got Bills and the Raiders. Can Joe Deasy sneak a win on you?
I'm gonna win that game.
Yeah, I think you will. Will, who you got?
I got Raiders.
I love Joe though. I'm gonna say that. I think he should be on every show. Highest rated show of the year last week.
He got good energy.
Yeah, he
definitely has that.
Yeah, he definitely has energy.
And he's a Raider fan, so you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, wow. We got your brother versus the Vikings. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go to Vikings.
Over your little brother?
Yeah.
Okay. We picked him to win. We picked the 49ers to win. Then we have another AFC matchup: the Browns versus the Texans. Aaron, who you got? They're both 3-6.
We keep Browns and Texans. Oh, geez. I mean, I just praised them for like almost the entire show, so I'll go with Browns.
I know, but you said he was frustrated. He's been struggling. Texans still has Clowney, and their defense has been playing. I think he's just been losing based on his offensive reads, versus his play. But I think Browns with the user ability should be able to edge that over the Texans. Will, you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Browns are a bad user.
Yeah, Brown's not a bad user at all. We have the Bucks and the Cards. What you guys got?
I got the Bucks.
I got the Bucks too.
Aaron, who you got?
I'm on the Bucks too.
Yeah, I'll go with the Bucks. I have no problem with the Bucks. We have your brother versus the Chargers. Now the Chargers, Franco thinks he can beat you guys. How true is that?
Yeah, didn't he say he was going to sweep me this year?
That's what he said. He said he has your number.
Yeah. Yeah, he has my number once in every 5 tries, maybe. But
yeah,
I played with a wrong playbook last game, and I still beat him by 21. So, Franco, I'm talking to you right now.
Yeah. So it's no different.
As far as Adam's game against him goes, and yeah, Franco's a guy that can surprise every now and again. that you guys have been talking about this, I know, before here, but that Melvin Gordon trade, I don't know. I think he's a lot better with Melvin Gordon in the lineup. So
Yeah.
I'll go with Adam on this one.
Yeah, me too. I think he was a surpriser. He gave up Melvin Gordon, and I watched him play the Panthers last night. He tried to blame his quarterback, but it was him. He made bad reads.
Well, and the thing about his, I remember looking at his roster, and by now everybody's gone through a couple seasons. I feel like a lot of guys have kind of progressed to where they're at like a 90 overall for their team, like 92, 93 or whatnot. But he has a lot of receivers. They all got good overall, but nothing really sticks out about them. It's not like any of them have awesome speed or anything like that. And I feel like the rest of his roster is just kind of, like his line and stuff like that, they're just not really that well developed. I just remember kind of going into that game thinking that I'm not really, there's not too many guys on the scene that really scare me. He was able to get a user pick on me again. I mean, he's really good at that. He has really underrated user skills, but yeah.
Yes. I seen him actually. It's funny you said, because I seen him bait the Panthers like 3 times or 2 or 3 times yesterday.
Yeah,
and the Panthers fell for it every time. The Panthers fell for it every time. Like, whoever number 50 is, who he uses, number 50. He did a really good job.
I remember just running a seam route on him, and I thought the guy was wide open. Just like a flash, the guy comes out of nowhere, picks me off, and I don't regret the throw at all. But man, I was just like, man, if you can make that play, then I might have to disguise what I'm doing a little bit better.
Right. Then we have the Colts and the Titans. Who you
have? Give me the Titans.
Yeah, Titans. I didn't get a good read on him last year because I remember his connection was barely there, and he just ran the ball the entire time. But just off of overall records, I'll go with Titans too.
Okay. Then we have, who do we have? Give me a second here. Cowboys and the Giants. Cowboys shocked the league, beating Will twice. I'm gonna go with Giants though. Who you guys got?
I'll go with Giants.
Yeah, I don't know that Will's gonna go with the Giants because he lost to the Cowboys twice already. I'm still picking him.
Wait, I thought I play. Wait, who do I play this week?
No, we're on next week, buddy. Yeah, next
okay.
Week. Next week, yeah, we're gonna do this week.
Give me time.
Okay, give me. We got Dolphins and the Patriots. Do you think Dolphins sneak one in and Patriots?
Who's the Dolphin? Oh,
Young Dolph or something? Is his name?
No.
It could happen. That might be a surprise.
Here's the thing, in my opinion, about Dolph is that I remember playing him, and I remember through 1.5 quarters, he wasn't that bad, but then. And that's the reason for all these blowouts is that he just kind of does some silly things late in games. He just went for it on his own 10-yard line and stuff. It's like he just kind of folded up shop, I guess. He's but he can get it done if he plays all 4 quarters. But I'll give it to the other guy right now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Patriots. I don't think Dolph has figured out his way to win yet. I mean, that's just a miracle, and Strong is really off his game. I'm gonna go with the Pats. Then we have Eagles and the Ravens. Ravens have Cam Newton. I think he's second in passing. Is that enough to the Eagles? I think we're on a 2-game losing streak.
He's second in passing, but I think he's first in interception. So
yeah,
I'll go with Eagles on that one. Haven't seen him play, but
he plays super conservative. Eagles play super conservative. He plays really smart. He doesn't really take risks.
If you're like that, scoring the amount of points that he does against a guy that makes a lot of mistakes, and yeah, absolutely, I'll go with the Eagles.
Okay. Then we have myself versus Ronnie, the Panthers, who wants the division this year. I'm not ready to give it up. As I'm 4-4, I need to win the division to get in the playoffs. Who you guys got?
I don't know, man. Tough one to call. I mean, Ronnie, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Ronnie's done a pretty good job, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think you'll probably take it, I guess, but I'm just kind of basing that off your success from last year and the year before. So,
Right.
I mean, you never know. I mean, I've been at the very top, I've been at the very bottom. So, any given season, but it'll be interesting to watch though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm gonna just play my game, man. I know I need, like I said, I need to go ahead and just win this division to get in the playoffs. The last couple of seasons, I was pretty much on not on cruise control, but I was winning. So to take a loss didn't really matter. But now it's like almost like the win out, So I'm gonna come to play. I know he's gonna come to play. I know he wants to win the division. He wants to make a statement.
He's got what it takes. He's got what it takes, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I won the game against him 31-0, but I think he had 3 times more yards than I did.
Yeah. He has the tools. He has the tools
right.
and the weapons.
He plays good defense.
Yeah, he plays like to me, he plays like Bill to me a little bit. That organized chaos feel, it's like he has a game plan, and then when you go up a little bit, does he stick with it or does he get away from it and things like that? But he did have some impressive wins against the Chargers and the Cowboys. He actually came back for both of them games, so I was kind of impressed by that. So he's definitely playing this season. We'll see how it all pans out for him next week. We got the Jets and the Rams. Do you think Cleveland can go 16-0 this season?
I see it. It's possible.
Is that based on the schedule? You think you don't see nobody remaining on the schedule that can beat him?
I mean, who can you see the remaining of the schedule?
Yeah. Sure. Let's look at that real quick.
He's got Rams, Chargers, Broncos, Browns, Niners, me, and Cardinals. He's gone.
The only people are going.
I was just gonna say he's gone 16-0 before, so it wouldn't be unprecedented. But
Okay.
I mean,
okay, yeah. I mean, you Browns, 49ers, only 3 I see. Mike can do it.
That's the only challenge.
Yeah, those are only his 3 challenges. You agree with that, Adam? I mean, Aaron, you pretty much, all.
Are you asking me if he'll go 16-0?
Yeah. Do you think he gets past the Browns and 49ers to go 16-0? That's 3 tough games.
I mean, he definitely could. I'm gonna say he won't though, because I think one of those games he'll lose. But I don't know, with the way he's been scoring, it's might take a lot to stay with him.
Yeah.
But I'll put myself up against anybody right now. I mean, it'll definitely be a grind. It won't be easy, but I know I got what it takes to beat him. So
okay,
we'll see how it plays out.
Yep. We have Redskins and Steelers. Do you think Bill can beat the Redskins?
I don't know. I mean, Redskins, he must be an awful good user, because isn't it Buchanan that's always leading the league in picks?
Yeah, Buchanan and Eric Kendricks.
Yeah. So, and it kind of surprises me, for as much as he takes shots downfield, that he doesn't get picked off more. He must have really good receivers or guys that can at least,
He has John Ross and
the ball well enough to not let it go in the other team's hands. But
he has John Ross and Perryman. He has 2 of the fastest receivers in the league. So it's really a speed versus catch thing with him for his team.
Yeah.
Okay. So you think that's enough for Bill? You think Bill can pound the ground and run his way to victory, or?
I don't see it happening, but I'm not supposed to say that. So.
Yeah. I mean, if he can stop the deep ball and he can establish the run game, I mean, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take something creative to get past you, Bill, to be honest with you.
The thing about Bill is, I feel like, I mean, he's good at those kind of, I mean, you think about old-time Steeler football, and it's like getting down and dirty stuff like that. I kind of feel like those games are kind of more his style, but if it turns into a track meet, yeah, I don't think he'll be able to hold up too well. So
Okay.
I'll go with the Redskins.
All right, cool. Then we have Saints and the Broncos. Both defensive line, but I'm gonna go with the Broncos. Saints hasn't been playing his same type of playoff football he played last season. He's still showing this season. I'm gonna go with the Broncos.
I'll go with the Broncos too. Kind of hard to get a read on Doc because I feel like the last couple of times I played him, I've really kind of gotten him good. But he has a winning record this season, and if he plays a certain style of football, I mean, there's been games where he's just like run the ball, just played good defense, don't make a lot of mistakes, and when he does that, he's pretty tough to beat. But it's like when he starts taking some of those shots and stuff like that, he's pretty sure he's starting a rookie quarterback too. But
yeah, but he got Robbie Anderson.
If he does that, then probably not. But
I'll
go with Doc though.
Yeah, I mean he has Robbie Anderson. He's been doing pretty well with him this season.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that's all Doc needed. Really, just a wide receiver.
Yeah. Okay. We got the co-host in here. Todd just jumped in here. And the last game of Week 11 is the Seahawks versus the Packers. What you guys got?
I got Packers.
That's tough.
I'm going with Seahawks.
You think his run game gonna be too much for Paya?
I think that Boone takes, Boone is in a position where he's playing his new playbook and things like that. But just certain players, he plays his game and he doesn't take more risks like that. Like he plays Green Bay, plays Todd. Like he plays us differently than he plays, let's say, a Patriots or a team from an AFC. That he rarely doesn't play a lot. I think he just goes back to the basics, and that should be enough for him to beat the Packers.
Boone's a guy that's given me fits in the past. I mean, I respect him as a player. He's really good. And Paya, the game that we played last time, I won that, and you're welcome for that, of course, Gates. Me beating Paya like that last year.
I'm glad you did.
Not too much in the playoffs, but even when I beat him, though, I think he took every drive into the red zone, stuff like that. Just had to settle for field goals, that sort of thing. So it'll be tough. I mean, I think I'll go with the Packers. I think his team is probably just better than Boone's overall. Even though, I think they're pretty square as far as players go.
Yeah. Ty, you want to chime in on his last pick of the week?
That one's going to be a hard one. Boone traditionally won most of their head-to-heads, but I think the last one or two Paya's got them, which I don't know if Paya's over that hump. I haven't seen any decline in Paya's game. I really wanted to see him play Minnesota. It's looking like that game's not going to happen because I wanted to see him against Creasy, how Paya was going to deal in that kind of matchup, which would have told me who was going to win, him and Boone.
Why is that game not happening?
I don't know. I think it's a scheduling issue. Paya has some type of issue. Maybe he's working this weekend, but I think he works at a casino, and he's one of those I go to sleep at 9 o'clock at night dudes. And if you don't play before 8 at night, East Coast time, like he won't play. And I think Creasy wasn't available during the morning. I've been monitoring it back and forth, and it doesn't seem like that game's going to get played. So it's unfortunate. Because that would have told me a lot about the Boone game. The Boone game, I think Thomas Rawls is still hurt. I know I talk to Boone frequently. I know he likes JT Todman. I'm not a big fan of Todman's. I think Boone's run game is much more effective with Rawls than Todman. I know Russell's been a little inconsistent. I know Boone just had a big win against Wop's little brother that came down to the wire. I think Boone will be keyed up for this one. I think Paya's got him the last two. I'm going to go with Paya narrowly.
Okay. I mean, he makes some valid points. I just think that yeah, I would like to see that Vikings game to me as well this week, and it's a shame that's not going to be played. I want to see if Creasy was the real deal after beating me, or was it just luck? I think that would have been definitely a good test to see how he how it plays out. Hopefully that game doesn't bite him, bite either one of them for the fight for the division. 'Cause that's like the division game that gives whoever to win the division lead. So to have that determined by a sim, I think is kind of whack. But things happen, life happens. So uh, anything you want to add on here to the show, man, Todd? I know you just jumped on. I know you have like round robin questions and things like that. Anything you want to ask, Aaron? I pretty much drilled him down.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and see the end of that. And I'm sure Aaron had some good insight. I don't know if you guys know or not. Maybe Aaron covered it, but I know from being in the commish chat, Aaron talks to us about it. But Aaron's actually a pretty successful real life high school football coach, which I don't know if you guys covered that or talked about it, but he's
we did.
a real life football coach, which is pretty cool. His team's been pretty successful in the last few seasons. They've made some runs. So I would have touched down on that. Did you cover that there, Gates?
Yeah, we talked about all that. Yep.
I would have brought it up even if he didn't talk about it. I always look for an excuse to plug my team. So I asked Ty a couple of weeks ago if I could wear the hat. So
yeah. As long as you guys don't try to sue me on the back end, I don't want to get a letter from this small town of Iowa talking about I didn't get permission and rights and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you know what? I got some questions for Aaron. Then, I mean, first question I'd say is, if you and Adam play 10 games, how many games do you win of those 10, and how many does he win?
It depends. I mean, if we're talking about this year's Madden, we've already played just about 10. I think we've played 8 so far. We've been at it 4 seasons, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 4th season. So I'm 6-2 against him. So I'll go ahead and say I'd win 8 out of the 10.
Interested. Who do you see as more of a rivalry? Because I see you and Franco have developed a pretty good rivalry with the brass knuckles and everything. And I know Franco feels like he's on your level and he can compete with you. So division wise, and Doc's always there. Doc's more quieter, but obviously you've been bumping heads with Doc for a long time. So I know that division is typically brutal. I was in it and enjoyed it. Who do you see as your biggest rival in that division? Not necessarily who's the best player, but when you play that one person, I'm like, that son of a gun.
Well, obvious it's got to be Adam, just because. And you guys don't get all that stuff on the chat because we got each other's phone number and everything. But there is definitely a fair amount of trash talk that goes into that. And, we go back and forth and we see each other, we live about 2.5 hours apart, but when we see each other, usually Madden is definitely a topic of conversation.
Who's the oldest? Who's the oldest between you two?
I'm 7 years older than he is. So,
okay.
And we got a sister in between, so she loves it whenever we talk about Madden. So.
I was gonna say, hey, does she play too?
No, absolutely not.
West.
Yeah, it'd be nice if she did. Nice victory every couple of weeks, but yeah, she's not really too into it. She's, that's not really her bag. But yeah, I mean, it'd definitely be Adam. But me and Franco definitely have a friendly thing going. I really enjoy playing him. I feel like, that San Diego game, like we kind of had like a couple of guys kind of go through that spot, and I think Franco is definitely my favorite of them. And then Doc, he's a really good guy too. I've said for a while here, and I'm not exactly sure how long it's been like this, but I think we got. I mean, I don't know if like we have the best players in the AFC West, but I think we definitely have the best division as far as like the division that, we've been around the longest. We definitely have a bit of a history. I mean, some teams, and you guys know this, it's like every couple weeks, maybe not so much this year, but every few weeks, every few months, you're trying to find a new guy for, this franchise or that franchise. And sometimes it seems like you can never keep them fully occupied, but we've been going at it, the four of us, it seems like, for a while now. And it's usually pretty good. The guys that beat me the most come out of that division. I don't know how many losses I've had, but I think in this game, as far as user losses go, I lost a couple times to Candyman, once in the regular season, once in the playoffs, my first season. Lost to Cletus last year. I lost to Browns in the playoffs. But I think beyond that, all my other losses in this game and all of Madden 18 have been in the division. Uh, of course, Adam's gotten me a couple times. Franco's got me a couple times. I think Doc got me once or twice. So, I mean, it's a friendly rivalry. It's a lot of fun. They're good guys to play with, but it's really competitive too. But yeah, but definitely hands down, it's got to be Adam. Although Franco, as much as he's been talking, it's he's definitely I definitely get up for that game anymore. I don't take him lightly, that's for sure.
So I got a good question for you, and I think I kind of know the answer, but I'm gonna ask you. I feel like you're kind of like the dark horse in the AFC. And what I mean by that is, as long as we've been doing this show, and anytime we talk about the AFC, you always hear Adam's name. You always hear Cletus's name. Cleveland had a lot of buzz. And I feel like for as successful as you've been and consistent, you're always around, but you hardly ever get mentioned. Two-part question. Why do you think that is, and how do you feel about it? Like, you've been a perennial playoff team for years in Madden, but your name never seems to get the same type of love that Adams gets or Cletus.
I don't know. I mean, I think during that, I had a couple 14-2 seasons. I feel like, my name got brought up a little bit more there, but I feel like I'm kind of like a lot of guys in the league where, I'm good enough to get to the playoffs. I'm good enough to, get in the tournament. But when it comes right down to it, I haven't exactly been that guy that's taken that next step. And, there's a few guys in the league like that. I think that this year, usually in the past, I'd usually go about, I feel like 10-6, 11-5 pretty consistently. But this year I'm, kind of ratcheting up my game to where I'm now in like the 13-3, 14-2 range. But I'd say until I get the championship, until I'm able to get there and actually pull it off, yeah, and that's probably why my name doesn't get mentioned too much. It's because I haven't taken it all away yet, but I'm hoping to change that this year. I think that I'm in the best position now to do it as I've ever been.
It's funny because I think you're probably the person on the other side of the ball, conference-wise, that reminds me of me the most, because I think I'm kind of in the same situation. Like, people know I can play the game. People know I'm capable. People know on any given Sunday I can take anybody down, but I also have a tendency to sometimes be inconsistent. I could have that 14-2 season and the next season be damn 8-8. Been to 3 Super Bowls in the USFL, but I've lost all 3. So I'm kind of like you in terms of we're kind of guys that can get there, can be there, can beat anybody, but we just haven't been as consistent. I think maybe as some of the consistent folks that every single season put it down.
Yeah, we spoke about that earlier too.
Yeah, we did talk about that, and I think I think playoff football is different. I think that, and yeah, that was like one of the first topics of conversation that we had. And the game I had last year against Browns, I did some things that I probably had the good sense not to do in the regular season. That's one thing that, as much as I ride Adam for, having the better head-to-head and everything, that's one thing that he's able to do is, when it comes to playoff time, when he really needs to buckle down and play good football, even if he is this, getting in as like a 6 or a 5 seed, he's able to do that. So, but I think, and we mentioned this before in the chat too, I think more than anything, it's just kind of that mindset that, okay, what got you there, where your strengths lie. Even if you get down by 1 or 2 scores, or even 3 or 4, because I've been in that situation before, you got to play your game, and you can't go about just chucking it deep every single play, because that's that's just a sign to me that you hit the panic button.
That's Wob's game though. But that's Wob's game. Chuck the ball every play.
But I mean, if that's your game, then that's different. You know what I'm talking about? It's not a situation where he's doing that because he's doing out of desperation. He's doing that because that's what works, and that's how he set up his team. I don't have a team full of guys that are like 90 overall receiver with like 96 speed and stuff, and I got to make it work with what I got. And yeah, and I nice thing about my situation is I feel like I got a game plan that can travel pretty well. I got a game plan that it doesn't really matter who I'm going up against, but just making your reads, running the football. I feel that no matter who I play, I feel like with the reads that I make, that sort of thing, I feel like that's what's gonna pull me through, and not just relying on having like the better guys on the outside or whatnot. So and obviously it sounds like I'm selling Wop short, because I know he does a lot more than just that, but I know he's like a really good user, but I'm not as good of a user as that. I just go about playing my game, and that's how I plan to do it from here on out.
So I got them round robin questions for y'all if y'all want them. But before I ask them round robin questions, I gotta ask Wop. What's up with that Gucci Man avatar, brother? You a big Gucci Man fan?
I used to. I'm a Gucci fan.
Gucci. He been low key since he got out, man. Besides that little show he had, the reality show, I ain't heard much from him.
I know, I don't like new Gucci, man. I like fat Gucci.
For real, right? Hey, is your brother a big ODB fan? Because I noticed you got Gucci, he has ODB.
Yeah, he
is. So, round robin questions. Aaron, typically I've been doing this new thing on the show where I'll kind of ask random rapid fire Madden questions just to get folks' opinion. It's kind of fun, I think, to ask different questions, just different random questions. So, and then we all just kind of answer. So I guess the first one I would ask, which one do you guys hate more, rain game or snow game? Gates.
I hate the rain game, man. I like the snow games. Snow games remind me of growing up playing, in the snow, football here on the East Coast. So I think it's dope that I could do that. So for me, it's rain games. I hate the rain.
Wow.
I hate the rain games. I hate them. People dudes be slipping them.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's a
what
rain
about
game
you, Aaron?
It's a rain game for me too, in real life or in Madden. God dang, who was I playing last year? Where it was just a total mess like that. I mean, I don't have to worry about the snow anyway. I mean, I'm playing in California, so unless I got like Cletus in the playoffs or something like that, I can usually get around those snow games. Actually, it was Cletus last year I played in the rain, and yeah, there was definitely some goofy stuff that went down that game. So yeah, I prefer the snow.
And I would agree with you guys. The snow games in the beginning, it's a little challenging depending on the uniform, but they don't, to me, affect the gameplay. Them snow games, if you throw timer routes like outs and shit, and you waiting for that dude to cut and you release that ball and you see that dude bust his ass and you sitting there like, damn it, man.
Yeah, but I get those same animations, man, in the rain games, man. So
no, that's what I'm saying. In the rain games, I get those. In the snow games, I don't seem to have any issues, especially when you get the second quarter and the field clears up because people back and forth. I don't notice timing issues with the snow, but in the rain, multiple dudes falling and slipping and tripping, and
especially on that crucial third down, and you know that's your primary. And he's doing a drag or something, he just slips. You're like,
for real, like, damn it, man.
Yeah.
So, I guess second question. Do you prefer in a crucial situation, let's say 3rd and 9, you got to get a stop. Do you prefer to play pressure, set a blitz in that situation, or do you prefer to sit back in coverage? What's your go-to on a 3rd and 9 with the game on the line? You got to get a stop. Gates.
My key to success is coverage. I rarely blitz. So for me, and it depends on my opponent too. Like I know certain guys I can't blitz, certain guys I could. Like I would never try to blitz Wop. I'd rather him chuck the ball and let me deal with it that way versus blitzing somebody like like a Bucks or a Lions or something like that. You know, someone who has a lesser user IQ, I want to call it. So for me, I'm gonna just go coverage and hope for the best.
Wow.
I'm going coverage all day. Because the blitz don't get there, you done for.
Right. What about you, Aaron? Well, actually, I know Aaron. What?
What is it?
You gonna send them dogs, man?
I mean, yeah, I kind of like in past games, probably maybe more coverage and everything, but I always kind of equate it to like, just playing roulette, just kind of playing that kind of a defense, because I feel like anytime somebody knows exactly what you're bringing, then they kind of have the advantage that way. So I just kind of like, okay, well, roll the dice here. Am I going to play coverage this time, or am I going to bring a blitz? And yeah, I think that sometimes that helps me out because, I mean, you guys just kind of address it yourselves. I think a lot of guys are in that boat playing coverage. So sometimes when you bring coverage like that right away, it's like, oh, geez, where'd this come from? So that's why I do that. And yeah, it does get home sometimes, but I think more than anything, it just gets home because guys aren't ready for it.
For me, I think it's kind of a combination of both, even though it should be round robin. I'm never bring the house blitz 6 type of guy. I just think that's too vulnerable. I like to look for sneaky blitzes that might be a little slower or delayed, because I'm not going to give somebody all day in the pocket that's good, that can pick me apart. And so I like to send something like off the corner or something like that, if possible, where I can kind of try to tweak coverage in the middle of the field and take away what I think he's going to do, but not give him all day at the same time. So for me, it's kind of a weird hybrid. I look at those like corner blitz 3 type plays where I've got decent coverage in back of it and I can use it where I think they're going to go, but I'm not just going to let them sit there and pitch a tent.
One thing I like to do anymore, and this isn't usually for passing plays on like a 3rd and long or something like that, but one thing I like to do is like maybe once, maybe twice a game, just run that engage 8, just so guys are like, yeah, this guy really is nuts. He'll try anything. So, and yeah, I'm all about keeping guys on their toes, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Ty, man, to be honest, I don't know what other guys' experience. It's tough, man, with these patches and with the nano detection and with the ID to Mike.
Bingo.
It's so hard to get a stock blitz in there at this point in this late in the Madden, man. I think a lot of blitzes that did work are now patched. I mean, unless you have like the 2 that are so popular on YouTube, I mean, it's really hard to get any type of blitz in. I mean, from my experience.
To be honest, you're 100% right. Gates, you and me played in different leagues. You know how I used to roll, but I just don't feel the blitz is that consistent to where I'm going to do like I used to do. And before, you can count on me to dial it up 24/7. I tell that story when I first joined the league. Aaron was the one that actually pulled me aside. I was on the verge of everybody in the league wasn't feeling tired when I first joined, because I used to run this 4-3 under blitz, and it used to piss some people off and got into some controversy to chat. And Aaron kind of pulled me to the side, DM, and said, "Hey man, you might want to cool it, man. You on that thin ice." So definitely get that. So I guess my next question, who would you guys consider to be the most underrated Madden player? And what I mean by that is, like 2 or 3 Maddens ago, Christine Michael wasn't good in the NFL, but on Madden, that dude was like a god. Like, he just was a beast, but which I never understood, because in the NFL, he wasn't that damn good. Who would you guys look at and say is that guy on Madden this year? Just that low-key beast guy that maybe he's not even a good NFL player, but on the game, for some reason, he's a monster.
I'll go.
Go ahead, Walt.
I'm gonna go with Ricardo Allen.
Who you said, Ricardo Allen?
Yeah, Ricardo Allen. He jumps on every ball that's thrown to him. Mark should know.
Yeah. It's funny because I had Ricardo Allen like a magnitude ago, and he played a lot better than I thought he would. So I can see where you would say that. What you got, Aaron?
I would say it's weird like that. It seems like some guys year in and year out. Like, what's the deal with Niall Davis? He hasn't really. Yeah, I don't know who has him now, but like, it seems like every year Niall Davis of all people is like a feature right back. I never got that. I would say one guy, and he probably will be a superstar in real life, but he just hasn't been out there that long, is Myles Garrett. I was telling Browns when I played him the other day that, and it's a nightmare too. That's a big reason why I lost the game last year and the game I played against him yesterday. Now, some of that is he's actually using Garrett, which makes things a little bit easier in the passing game just because, okay, you know you're not going to have that lurker that's doing all these things that the CPU wouldn't normally do, so you know a little bit more what to expect. But he still got 3 sacks on me, did Garrett, and he switched them up, put them all over the place. He had them lined up inside on early downs. He had them at defensive end on 3rd and long, stuff like that. Didn't have to bring pressure because Garrett got there immediately. And I actually had, I think I actually had a Semele blocking him, but he couldn't do a thing about it. So, yeah, there's a guy. And actually another guy too, my brother, just another interior rusher like that, Chris Jones for the Chiefs. He's another guy but he's actually pretty legit in real life as well. They're just 2 guys that probably don't get their due in the NFL because it's, you know, I mean, they're not getting 10 sacks a year consistently. So those 2 definitely.
For me, man, it's been there's a guy on the free agent list that I've seen to pick up on all my, you know, the couple leagues I've been to. This man, Kobe Listenby, I think his name is.
Yes, I had him last year, and I love that dude.
Yo, he's a receiver, yo, and he's like always sitting on free agency. I'll be picking him up. He has like all the receiver traits unlocked, 80 catch in traffic, 80 catch,
like 90 speed,
close to 80 route running. I'm like, dude, who's letting this guy go? And yo, in a game, he don't drop nothing.
Yeah,
he don't drop nothing. I don't know who he is in real life, bum or bust, or you know, Pro Bowler. I don't know. But on Madden,
I had him on my Giants last Madden, and he was like my number 2 dude behind Odell.
Yeah, like, who is this guy? And I got him now. I got him in this league and this other little league that I used to practice. My God, he don't drop nothing. You know what I'm saying? He's like he's a stud to me. He's a hidden gem. And then me and Will did talk about Ricardo Allen, the free safety on my team. He makes a hell of a lot of plays, and I didn't even know. On Madden, he does that. Like in real life, he's pretty decent to me, you know, as a Falcons fan. But here on Madden, man, he's been doing his damn thing. He feels like almost like a little Ed Reed, where I don't have to worry about. He just makes plays. I mean, ever since the Jags started trucking him, you know, last season, he's been getting ran over. You know, big running backs seem to, you know, run him over. But he's only 5'9", 180. So I mean, that's his only Achilles. You know, that's his only weakness is he can't tackle big guys. He will get ran over, but you know, throw the ball in his vicinity, he's going to try to make the play, which I think is pretty cool.
Also, for me, it's 2 guys, and it's funny that Aaron's on the show because I've told him this even when I used to be in the AFC West. Mario Edwards is a guy to me that, from a Madden standpoint, is just a beast. But you never hear this dude's name called in the NFL. Now, I think he has the skill set in the NFL. I just think he's been injured frequently. But on Madden, when I used to play Aaron, I didn't worry about Khalil Mack. Mario Edwards ate my freaking lunch on a regular basis. And even when I watch Raider games now, Mario Edwards just makes plays. The other guy who I feel that way about, and I felt this way about him for like 4 or 5 Maddens, is Mike Daniels. Now, Mike Daniels is a top 100 in the NFL in real life, but he doesn't get that big name pub. But every Madden, Mike Daniels is on the sack leaders list from that D tackle position. So,
former Hawkeye.
Yeah, man. And you're like I said, you got Mario Edwards, man.
Yeah, actually, Mario, I bumped him inside too, and yeah, I honest to God, I don't know because I don't know if guys actually, I don't think too many guys actually shift their line play like on pass plays, but maybe some guys do towards Mac. Now Mac still gets his, but Alden Smith.
Yeah,
I made unfortunately I didn't let him go this time around like I did last Madden, but I think the first or second year he's, you know, like 15 sacks, stuff like that. Now Mario, yeah, he still does pretty good on the inside, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I think he had 5 sacks one game against suited Mario Edwards.
Yeah,
but he is hurt all the time though in real life, so that's probably why I don't hear about him as much. And who knows what his future holds? But He's a good Madden player, though.
So if you guys are starting, I guess the next question is most consistent Madden player. So if you're starting, and I'll do the defensive side of the ball, not offensive. You're starting a team, Madden Fantasy, the most consistent dude you can think of, who would be your first pick on your defensive team for Madden? Gates.
Defensively,
Like, you know, this dude, like every Madden he performs at a very high level. You know what you can.
For me, I mean, the guy I would love to have had, but I never owned a team. No, I'm lying. You know who I really like in Madden, man, who I really like, and I think they probably made his speed slower. Patrick Peterson to me.
EP.
I love Patrick Peterson, man. I love him in real life. I think he, at one point I would easily argue he was the best cornerback in the league, hands down. But for me, even on the game, he performs, so well. I don't have to do anything. Like, I can just leave him over there in the island. He can make plays. He doesn't really age as fast as most players. Things like that. I'm gonna go with Pat P. If that's my first defensive pick, I'm gonna go with Pat P.
Who you got, Wop?
I'm going with Deion Buchanan all day.
Yeah, man. And you utilize him well, man. Him and Kendricks. That's just. I was looking at the picks list the other day, and I'm like, I don't know if a lot of people realize that Wop has both Kendricks and Buchanan like in the top 3 on that list. Like, pick your poison right there.
Yeah, they were 1 and 2 for a while.
Just don't throw it to the middle of the field, period. Like, I don't know what to tell anybody, man. Run the ball and throw it outside. Good luck. Who you got there, Aaron?
Oh, I got to go with Khalil Mack, of course.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, yeah, he's got Pi out. Pi wants to trade for him all the time, but I'm like, no, I'm never going to. I mean, at least until we get to like Madden, like 2024 or something like that. He's going to be a Raider lifer every single season I got the Raiders. A couple guys, though, one guy that I will mention, though, is Eric Berry, because yes. Adam seems to get me with Eric Berry at least once every game. And we addressed that before. I take pride in not, throwing dumb passes and, just getting balls picked off and stuff like that. But, I'll try it. I'll go deep with Amari, once or twice a game because I got to. I mean, he's that good, and usually I'll complete one of them. But with Barry back there, I mean, that guy you guys saw the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's that kind of a player, and in real life, shoot. I mean, how can you go against a guy like that in real life? I mean, you got guys like Greg Hardy and stuff like that, and you got a guy like Eric Berry. I mean, what a story he is, like bouncing back from cancer like that. How can you, even as a Raider fan, I have to cheer for that guy.
Yeah.
Now, who's a guy that you guys wish you could have on your team?
Let me give you my answer for the defensive player. Since this guy's came in the league, he's been a terror. I would start, and I'm a big D-line guy. Give me Jadeveon Clowney. Every Madden I've seen, that dude, he performs at a very high level. And it's like Gates said with Peterson, you don't have to use him. You don't have to do nothing. Just leave him there. He's going to get block shed. You ain't getting around that outside edge on him. And I like what Aaron said with Barry, but I would change that for Earl Thomas, because even when I play in practice mode against Earl Thomas, like, as good as Barry is, like, you really cannot throw the ball deep against Earl Thomas. The ground that dude covers, and he brings that hit power too. Give me those two.
So this is the first man I've seen where Clowney didn't get hurt. Normally year one and you own him, or normally in the past Madden or 2 Maddens, even his rookie year, he got hurt. Like this one, he doesn't get hurt. Like what I'm saying, he doesn't get the injury bug.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's been I played Texans, and good God, he was a terror.
Yeah.
He was a terror. I had to look and see if dude was using him. Like, you using him? There's no way he's beating that guy every single play. Like, he's beating my end every single play. So, I mean, yeah, that's definitely. If you guys, I know there was a player, Ty, just to piggyback off you. Who would you pick? Well, I guess we kind of answered that. Who would you pick? Yeah, if you're your first defensive player. Yeah, and I was gonna say probably Earl Thomas too. I think he's Superman back there, a little guy who's Superman. Who would you pick on offense? Who would you guys pick on offense?
Oh wow! See, That's so many good choices.
Aaron, who'd you go offense?
Ooh.
I already got mine.
You go ahead then.
Then you go. Who you got?
Yeah, because
I got Brendan Cooks.
ooh wee. The burner.
He's fast and he can catch over you all day. So, and he's super easy to develop.
I got an answer for this, but I don't know if I don't know. I forget how long everybody in here has been in the league. Ty, you might remember this guy. I'm not talking about a real NFL player right now, but if I could bring somebody back from a team I had before, remember when I had that number 11 wide receiver, Tim Ingram?
Yes.
Oh man, I mean, and like all my guys right now, like I really spread it around. Amari doesn't even get that much attention from me. I got like everybody's like between 20 and 30 catches and everything. And I'm trying to think back now. I think it may have been the Madden 3 years ago. And that was like the Raiders tanked the year before. So I remember starting out the season and football season, I never have as much time anyway. I think I went 4-12 my first year. And I picked this guy up, I think, like the 4th overall pick. And it was funny because that's when they use like real pictures for these guys.
Yeah.
And, the guy looked like kind of some like chubby, like white frat boy and everything. And he kind of looked like Matthew Perry from Friends almost. But like when he gets out on the field, he has like these like bulging biceps and he's like 6'3". I'd say if I compare anybody, it'd be like just like Julio Jones. He has like the speed, he has a jumping ability. He's just like one of those laboratory freak type guys.
Yeah.
And I had guys that would just like, I remember playing the division against like, my brother against school with it when he was there, and they would just like take guys completely out of their zone and then just like make a beeline right for Ingram because they knew he was getting the ball probably 2 out of every 3 plays I was running, or at least he'd be my first read. So he was definitely that guy for me. And, I have fond memories of him. But, if you're talking about real life, I don't know. I mean, I suppose if he's like Julio Jones, and probably Julio Jones in real life, it's just nice having a guy like that can kind of, I mean, Amari's a good deep threat. I got him 99 on everything. But he's still only 92 speed and like 90 jumping. So that's only going to take you so far, even as much as you level up a guy. So, I suppose probably a guy like Julio.
You know who I go with, Ty?
Who?
Fantasy. Let's see. We started fantasy league. My first pick. If he's up there, I'm taking Brady, man.
Who?
Brady. Tom Brady. Or Aaron Rodgers. I want to know what it feels like to have a quarterback who doesn't miss throws, man.
You know what's so funny?
What does that feel like? What does that feel like?
I couldn't tell you.
30 yards downfield.
I couldn't tell you, but I'm with you, Gates, because that I think is what leads to some of my inconsistency. I'm a quarterback-driven player. Like my quarterback's the most important person. So when I have a good functioning quarterback, I'm viable. When I don't, good luck in terms of who's going to show up. What's kind of tricky about Madden is, you're right, Brady and Rodgers from a Madden standpoint will be great. But I don't know, those two tend to play long too. Like I wanted to say Derek Carr or Russell, because I started thinking, okay, who's young enough that if you played in September, you could play 5 or 6 seasons with them without having to groom a youngster underneath them. And my fear with like Roethlisberger or Rivers or Brady or Rodgers is, you get to season 3 and you got to bring in that youngster, and that's when you take that dip. So I don't really know, but it would have to be a quarterback.
I'll be honest. I think, and maybe it's just because of the passes that I throw, but I really just feel it's like who's ever behind the sticks kind of drives the quarterback. Now you kind of throw, Gates, just looking at some of your films, I mean, you throw a lot more deep balls to Julio, I've noticed. But, I mean, for a lot of mine, and sometimes you get that where they just airmail it, just throwing a different zip code or whatever. But, I kind of feel like, with quarterback, and, I've been there. I remember, like, having Carr get hurt. He always used to get hurt, like, when I had him, like last 2 or 3
always get
years.
hurt. Year one card, he was hurt. You know, like programmed in, like he gets hurt. Year one, he always gets hurt.
Yeah. That's why I jacked up his injury rating and his carrying rating so much, because I know I'm going to take off with him every now and again, and I don't want him to die when I press a slide button too late. But I remember putting in Connor Cook and probably setting a league record for interceptions. But I don't know. I feel like unless you're talking about like some of the old school Madden games, like this is just my opinion, but unless you're talking about a guy like Michael Vick, or I remember back when we were on the PS3 and
07 one.
Yeah.
Vic 07 when Falcons won a cup. He's the greatest Madden quarterback of all time.
You know what? It's funny. Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, because I was actually piggyback off that question, but I wanted you to finish answering the question before I dropped another question.
Yeah. I mean, my opinion though, I mean, I feel, and sometimes quarterback will have a little bit to do with that. I mean, case in point, I remember, you guys probably remember me ranting about how I lost to Cletus last year. I have a guy running an out route at the sticks, and guy throws it like 3 feet behind him. But I just, in my opinion, if you make the right reads and if you go about things the proper way, do things on offense, because the one thing that, with every Madden we've played is that you're automatically controlling the quarterback. You have more control over what the quarterback does than literally every single position on the football field. I mean, you can user anybody on defense, but you can't user an offensive lineman. You can't user a wide receiver when they're running their route. Running backs, I suppose, speed, strength, all that stuff definitely counts for something there. And that's been a problem I've had with Madden for a while. I mean, you talk about football in real life, guys miss throws. It happens. But, in Madden, it's like easier to throw like a 50-yard ball on a dime than it is to actually get your guy in a position to run under that and actually catch that if you're using them. And that's, as a football coach, as a football person, that's always something that kind of irritated me, because it's hard making throws like that. And I wish there was some mechanic, like I know they kind of built that in this year, where you can kind of aim your throws a little bit more, but it's, nobody uses it, because why would you?
That shit is hard. That's why.
Yeah. Well,
that shit is hard.
I have tried it once or twice, and I'd only do it for like a deep ball, just kind of throwing it like at a corner or something like that. But I mean, playing quarterback in real life is hard, and we got guys that consistently complete like 75-80% of their passes in a game, and that's, I mean, I know it's a video game, but that's not real life. I don't know. I mean, and I suppose that's probably what the community wants, but quarterback play, I think overall, I remember even Jamarcus Russell, things have been toned down from that day, but I remember going out there with Jamarcus Russell playing online ranked games and completing all my passes. There's no way Jamarcus Russell, even if he's going up against a high school football team, would probably complete all of his passes. But what do I know? I just watched him struggle and take home a paycheck for 2.5 years. A little bitter about that still.
I'm going to piggyback real quick on something Gay said. Favorite player that you played with, not on the game, just the person you played with on Madden, any Madden that you enjoyed. And I'll start. And for me, when I was in this other league, I was the Lions, and Calvin Johnson. Oh my God. You talk about Julio. Man, I used to throw up 330, 400 yards receiving a game with Calvin Johnson. Like, you just couldn't deal with that.
That's all you threw to was Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, you remember that when Stafford did y'all? Hey, because Matthew Stafford too had the arm to get out there, man. And I used to rocky catch with Calvin Johnson. I used to face throw him. Like, he was a beast without that. But when you could legit rocky catch and face throw with Calvin Johnson, man, by far my favorite player I ever played with in Madden. What about you guys?
You know what's funny, Aaron, to hear you say Jamarcus Russell, man. What just real quick, what amazes me is how he made $36 million and sat on the bench for a whole season. Yeah.
Yeah.
He made like 30 billion after they cut him. He's still at like 30 billion.
The one thing that I get all these like updates from like the Raiders website and stuff like that on Facebook, and people like complain about Derek Carr. Why did he make the Pro Bowl and all that stuff? I mean, he was like like the third alternate or something and got in, but it's like, hey guys, remember Jamarcus Russell, okay?
Yeah.
After Jamarcus Russell, anything else
Anything
is going to be a step up.
Yeah, because I mean, he was great on Madden, but in real life, he was unemployed. I'm like, yo, EA take him out the game. He's not even in the league anymore. He was like an online gym. But to answer your question, Ty, man, Mike Vick, man, I mean, any Madden that had Mike Vick to me was like the best. You know what I'm saying? To keep it more current, who would I like to play with? That's tough, man. That's a tough question. I mean, so many different Madden. Every Madden I fall in love with like a new player or something like that. I try to over the last 3 or 4, I think Cam Newton has been fun for me. When I was the Panthers in a previous league, because he reminds me of that Mike Vick style of player. So powerful arm and can run and make plays with his legs. So those two guys have been my favorite over the last couple Maddens. I wish I would have got Ronnie to make me that trade. I surely would have took that trade. I surely would have took Cam Newton off his Panthers roster.
What about you, Wop?
Wop, you still around?
Yeah. My favorite player gotta be. I'm still gonna say Brandon Cooks, man.
How tall was Brandon? How tall was Brandon?
5'9".
Yeah, he like 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, 5'8", 5'9", 5'10". He's not tall.
What did the Saints get in real life? I don't remember what the Saints. No, or was he just signed as a free agent?
Signed as a free agent.
That is insane that they didn't retain that dude in New Orleans.
I think they got him in a trade. I think.
Yeah, I forgot what they traded.
Like for a first or a second or something. I think it was like for a first, but they're picking like 30th overall because they were gonna trade Malcolm Butler for him.
I mean, you said Malcolm Butler. Who do you think's overrated in Madden? What players do you think are overrated?
Patrick Peterson.
Who?
Patrick Peterson is overrated in Madden.
This Madden maybe, but not overall his career. No, but this Madden maybe.
Career, he overrated too. I'm gonna go career wise.
Nah. For him to tear his tendon and come back like a machine, rush 2,000 yards almost, and then not his career. I think maybe this man they could have toned his ratings down, but not overall his career. Who you think, Ty and Aaron? Who you guys think overrated Madden wise?
Hey, real quick before I answer that one. In addition to Calvin Johnson on the defensive side of the ball, when I was the Jets and I had that backfield of Revis and Cromartie was by far my favorite corner on the game. Like, just though I love Calvin Johnson, Antonio Cromartie at that height with that speed, he was underrated. Revis on Madden.
He was underrated, and he stayed underrated even when he went to Arizona. He stayed underrated because he did a great job with Patrick Peterson, and then before they drafted the Honey Badger, and then when they drafted him, that's what got them to the Super Bowl. But nobody speaks on Cromartie. Everybody loved Revis, but Cromartie stuck majority of the star players of the other team.
Yeah, but who do I think is overrated in Madden?
Where you like their ratings don't match their skill.
Nah, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to think if there's somebody where I'm like, how does this dude keep making plays? He ain't that good. I'm trying to think who I feel that way about.
I'm gonna say Andy Dalton. I'm gonna say Andy Dalton.
I'll say Akeem.
I think that's a good damn call right there with Akeem.
I think Andy Dalton, man. His ratings are too damn high.
We talking about guys that are over, like Madden doesn't give them their due. Is that what we're talking about?
Madden gives
too much love.
Too much
Madden
love.
gives them too much love. Akeem Talib he's a player. I think he's a Hall of Famer for real. I don't know how Madden could not be giving him enough love. I'm trying to think here.
I think Andy Dalton, man. Andy Dalton's ratings are too high, and he doesn't play like that.
Hey, I don't know. The Baltimore Ravens might beg to differ in that last game of the real season.
Yeah, that was just bad defense. But
You could say
what? I'm be honest. Let me call a spade a spade. Matt Ryan, tone his shit down.
Yeah.
Tone it down. After the Super Bowl last year, and then what I've seen this year, tone it down.
But think about what
bad plays in the Super Bowl.
He was the MVP of the league, though, right?
Yeah, I know.
The game, that's where the ratings are coming. He was the MVP of the league.
That's where we lost the bad coaching. We need to tone down we need our fire coach. We lost the coaching.
If Shanahan played his cards right, you guys would have won. I mean,
I know. That's bad.
Ryan had a really good Super Bowl, I thought. But
yeah, that's bad coaching. It's bad coaching.
The sack was a killer, and then also, I mean, the fumble he had, but I mean,
that's awareness. When he took the sack, tone his awareness down. But overall, it was just bad coaching. To be honest.
You know what I'll say? I don't have a person, but I have a team that I think is overrated. Let's jump off the Seahawks bandwagon. This ain't the Legion of Boom of 3 years ago. Like, I don't care if you play them in practice mode, if you play them on the field. I'm talking about the actual team with Sherman and Chancellor. Like, they still have them playing like 3 years ago, Seattle. I think they need to be they get a little bit too much Madden love.
I think they
go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I think they overdid that. I think they kind of gave that too much love, this man. Even though he knew, I still saying they gave him too much love.
Who was that?
I don't think Dak Prescott.
Yeah. Although the flip side was last year when he was on that rookie of the year run, his stats in Madden and his attributes were trash, though. They didn't give him enough upgrades during the season, but you're right, they overcompensated this season. Carson Wentz will probably be, based off of that, Carson Wentz will probably be pretty nasty next year on the game.
Yeah, they did Carson dirty this year, though. Like, they didn't give him no quick development. They didn't do nothing to him. Like,
that probably should be who should have been the most underrated is Carson.
Oh, for this year?
Next year.
For this man?
Yeah. Like, think about it. You got Rich the Don, and the dude that was the Philly trying to trade the dude because he's bad on the game. The dude basically almost had an MVP campaign this year.
Yeah, I didn't really watch football this year, so I can't really comment on. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch one game this season, so it's tough. I can't really comment on NFL.
Hey, I don't know what's worse. I was talking to my partner about this. He's a Bronco fan. I don't know what's worse. You not watching it or me paying damn near $400 for the NFL ticket to watch the Giants go 2-14. Actually, $400 for 2-14.
Well, that's different, man. I didn't watch football. I didn't watch football and support Kaepernick. So
yeah,
mine was a purpose. I actually didn't watch any sports due to that fact. So that's the only reason why. Just something bigger than myself. So
sure.
Don't you live East Coast though, Tide? I mean, don't you get those Giants games?
Well, I'm a New Yorker, born and raised, and I go back there once or twice a year. As a matter of fact, next time I go back, I'm going to hit up my boy in Camden there, but I'm in Cali currently. I just go back and forth all the time.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I wish I was like a Bears or a Packers fan because I'm in the exact same boat, cheering for the Raiders, watching them struggle to get 6 wins this year and paying an arm and a leg to do it.
See, you would love to be here because in California, Southern Cal, where I'm at, mandatory off the top, you get a Charger game. If you ain't get a Charger game, you get a Niner game, a Ram game, or a Raider game. Period, point blank, end of discussion. So if you don't get the ticket, that's what you see it all day, every day.
Yeah, we get unfortunately I get the Eagles games. God, I hate the Eagles. And then if I don't get that, then I get like Cowboys, Giants, Redskins, NFC East. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool with all. I just freaking hate the Eagles, man. God, I hate the Eagles. I hope Packers. One more time, Brady. One more time. Please. Please. Just one more time.
You can't be Brady, man.
Can't do it, man. You don't know what it's like to live out here, man. You don't know what it's like, man. You don't know what it's like. It's funny because people are like, oh, are the Eagles going to beat the Vikings? I said, yeah, because Casey and them, they don't know what it's like to play here. Like, it's like Oakland fans. The Eagles and the Oakland fans, I think, are the same. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, You don't know what it feels like to walk into a stadium and be booed the whole time. You know, to have people consistently criticize you and yell crazy things at you from the time you walk out that tunnel. Damn the tunnel. They're at the hotel waiting for you to talk trash. To the time you're playing the game, the whole time, all the way back to the bus until you up out of Philly. That takes a mental toll on you, man. Like, and I'm not talking about like just fans. I'm talking about everybody. Every restaurant you go to, you can't even go to like a Walmart and somebody not say nothing to you. Like it's a beast to play out here. It takes a whole different mind, and they'll do that to their own damn players. Don't get it twisted. Don't think like they just do it to away teams. Let Carson Wentz have messed up or Nick Foles. They'd be at his house like, yo, you think we don't let that slide? No. Like it's a different mindset.
I'll be honest though, man. I mean, and maybe it is because the Raiders have some rough characters as fans too. I mean, I've actually been like I was actually in California about I don't know 5 years back or something, and I actually got tickets to a preseason game in the Black Hole, and I mean, of course, emotions didn't exactly run quite as high, but they were like the nice. I mean, honest to God, they were like the nicest people out there. I think it's when you kind of get in the cheap seats and when you have everybody that got a little bit too much liquid courage in them. I think that's when things kind of get a little bit rowdy. But I tell you what, though, I mean, when it comes right down to it, I mean, I'm cheering for the Eagles in this Super Bowl because, and yeah, this might irritate Strawn and Creasy, but, you know, with the Patriots, I never viewed New England, Boston as like, you know, because I remember back when they were awful, like in the early 90s.
Trash.
But I just remember, like, they don't care about the Patriots.
Grogan and Tony Eason and
nobody did.
Like, I'll give Boston fans this. They're really, I mean, they're good at, you know, their baseball. I mean, the Red Sox are of course a huge draw, and they had been all up until they, you know, won a championship. And you know, I think that's kind of like a true mark of a fan. I've been a Raider fan forever, and they haven't really.
Aaron, you know what you do? You tell them to show you their Drew Bledsoe jersey.
What's that?
Tell them to show you their Drew Bledsoe jersey. If you're a true fan, show me your Drew Bledsoe jersey.
Yeah, exactly right. Tell me about Irving Fryer and Andre Tippett and all those guys.
Right.
But that's the one thing that, you know, even if Eagle fans, you know, even if they're bad, they'll come out and boo you, I guess. I mean, that's a difference between them and say, because like, and a lot of the people that I know around here are Vikings fans, and they're like, oh, you know, just, you know, because like there's all these horror stories about what happened in Philadelphia and how everybody's getting booed and how everybody's getting stuff thrown at them.
Yeah, Ty couldn't come to an Eagles game,
but it's funny
with a Giants jersey on. Like, I wouldn't recommend him to do that. Like, not by himself. Like, yo, you can't go to the game by yourself with no Dallas gear on. Like, or if you do, we gotta have a weapon in the car. Like, it's serious out here. Like, yo,
but I'm gonna tell you this: as a Giant fan, I have dealt with fair share Philly fan, and even though they're close number 2, nobody's got nothing on Raider fan. I've seen Raiders fan live and in person. Like when I first came out here, the Raiders were still playing in the Coliseum, and I used to go to them games. I've been to the Black Hole. Like, I see what they do to Charger fan every year, stabbing Charger fan in the bathroom. By far, it's close with Philly, but Philly is more, they'll verbally berate you. And yeah, some of the drunk Philly fans might not take too kindly to the blue jersey, but Raider fan off GP from the time they take tongue out of girlfriend's mouth and hop out of their car with the Darth Vader gear on, they're looking to take somebody on. And they ain't got to be drunk. And they ain't just going to verbally do it. They're looking to stab you. They're looking to fight cop. Real story.
Not the guys dressing up that are doing that. I'm telling you, man, it's always like some guys just come there looking for a fight. It's the guys in the cheap seats. But my point is that I'd rather, you know, and obviously I wouldn't bring my family in that situation, but I'd rather see a team with fans like that win than, I mean, I wanted Jacksonville to win, but at the same time, I was saying to myself, Jacksonville, I mean, did they even sell out their own games? Honestly, I mean, I know they got some good college football fans there, but I mean, unless you got, I don't know. I mean, there's just some teams where I'm like, this team does not deserve to be successful. They don't deserve, their fan base doesn't deserve to have a team in the Super Bowl. This fan base hasn't been
the market,
you know, hanging on this team, you know, every season, you know, riding riding with them every year for the last 25 years like I have. So that's why, and, the Patriots, I respect the hell out of what they've done, but that's sometimes why I get a little bit irritated because they want to throw it in your face. But then again, I mean, some of these people, I kind of wonder where they were back in like 1990 when they were 1-15.
When they had the old jerseys, the old red jersey with the man on the helmet.
Yeah, right.
Where were them fans at? They weren't around. And Ty, it's funny. It's funny that you say that because it's not it's not just you would think it's just the Eagles game, bro, but it's the same mentality with the Sixers, the Flyers, the Arena Soul team, bro. It's
soul.
It is no sports off here. You think I'm telling you, man.
Okay, but the flip side to that, it's the same thing out here because Raider fan, Dodger fan, and Laker fan are the same person.
Are they the same?
Okay, you see how I was telling you about how Raider fan likes to stab Charger fan in the urinal. Okay, Dodger fan likes to stab Giants fan in the urinal just as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and Laker fan is Patriot fan out here. West Coast myopia at its full finest. You can't tell him right now that Pat Riley ain't coaching them and this ain't the 80s Showtime Lakers. They just don't logically. There's a few fans, Patriot fan, Laker fan, you can't reason with them. There's just no logic there. They're in such denial.
That's the Eagles fan. That is an Eagles fan, bro. That's the Eagles fan.
But at least Eagles fan knows they suck and their history.
No, don't.
They love their team, passionate, but they know that they're notorious for being losers. They're lovable losers. They're passionate.
Always got. Listen, we'll see. We're gonna go to a game. You come out here. We're gonna go to a game.
Oh, I forgot one more fan in the myopic mix. Let's not forget Cowboy fan, because ever since somebody told them that they're America's team, you can't tell them nothing.
Yeah.
The thing about Cowboys fans to me is that even when they're nothing special, people think that just because they're the Cowboys that they're going to be like, that's like that star in the helmet's good for another 3 wins or something like that. I mean, there's been years where they've just been, they're just average, but
they went 1-15.
And even though they won 15, you go to Buffalo Wild Wings and they're in there like they're 15-1, and I'm like, you suck. We're America's team.
Where are those fans at? Where are those fans? Where are the 1-15 fans?
Everywhere, man. I hate Cowboy fan with a passion.
Yeah.
Cleveland. I tell you what, Cleveland and Buffalo. Those, if I had to choose somebody besides the Raiders, I mean, any team that has to put up with a 1-31 record over the last 2 years, I mean, those guys are all right with me. And then Buffalo Bills. I mean, I love watching those videos about guys like getting power bombed through tables. I mean, that's my kind of people right there. Anybody? I mean, and I mean, we're not like, I've been to a few Hawkeye tailgates, and it's nothing quite like that. But I do appreciate the people that get a little bit rowdy, the people that I mean, just come show up. I mean, it just adds a lot more to the experience, I guess, because like get to playing a team like Northwestern or something. As good as Northwestern's been in the Big Ten for the last couple of years, it's like they got like 5,000 people at their stadium. Everybody else is at their dorm studying, I guess. So I don't know. I mean, I just appreciate teams, or I just appreciate fan bases that actually show up.
No, but you can more about that. Go ahead, Walt.
We can never forget the Eagles fans booed Santa Claus. Okay.
That or cheering for Michael Irvin being paralyzed from the damn waist down as he's like motionless on the turf.
Right. I'm telling you, you guys, it's a game out here. I'm telling you. It's nothing like, I've never seen nothing like it. I've been to a Redskins game, being from DC. I've been to a Jets. I've been to a couple games, man. It's nothing like here, man. It's nothing like it. And it's like I said, it's across the board. I know that the Oakland fans stab things. We got, it's violence out here, but they just don't broadcast it as much as they do out there. So it's different, man. It's different. Like little kids, you can walk past some little kids. I'm talking about like 3-4 years old might boo you, but you walking around with your Giants jersey.
But I'm trying to tell you,
bro, like that's crazy.
I've been to Eagles games as a Giant fan, and I've been to Raider game as not the opposing person. I remember the Raiders playing the Seahawks down here when Rick Meyer was the quarterback, and they was getting blown out 38-9, and some jack showed up with a John Elway jersey, and they beat the snot out this dude. Security came to try and break it up, and they whooped security's ass like Raider fan is on some other shit.
Yeah.
They ain't there to partake in the game. They're there to partake in criminal activity.
Yeah. No, that's exactly the difference in my opinion, because I think kind of the big difference there is I think that Eagle fans, like, you know, they're there for the team, but I do think that I got to admit, I think that Raider fans, I think that some people are they're more drawn in by the image, by the,
yes,
you know, like the look and everything. I mean, that's kind of been the way for a while. And I'm sure when they were in Los Angeles, it was kind of an even bigger deal. But I mean, everybody, like, I remember going to the Coliseum, like for the first time, you saw like so much like knockoff Raider gear. Like everybody kind of has like their, I don't know, but like they kind of like alterations on the logo and stuff like that. And I think guys get a lot more of a kick out of just sporting their colors and everything. And some people, yeah, might not be there for the football necessarily, but they're just there to, I don't know, make a statement or something. Some are probably there just looking for a fight. I think that, and I think the Raiders logo, I think their look is really cool, but yeah, I do think you do have some people that are just,
well, Aaron, you said something that's so true, and you really touched on something. Like, the Eagle fans are passionate about their team, and they may get a little overzealous. But with the Raiders, like you just said, you're so right, because I've seen it firsthand. There's a lot of people that could care less about the Raiders, and they're more fixated on the persona, the mystique, the bad boy image, and the real men wear black. I know people out here, literally, who before Raider games would posse up just to go to the parking lot and beat other people up. They wasn't going there for the game. They didn't have tickets for the game. They just wanted to go there in their black and whoop other people's asses. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I believe you. I mean, it does attract a certain individual, let's just say.
Yeah. And then we're talking about people versus, you know, actual fans too. So
right. That's what I'm saying. Eagle fan, look, they do too much. Don't get me wrong, but at least it's rooted in love of the team, although it's misguided. And I don't want to call these people Raider fans because what Aaron said is true. Actual Raider fan wants to back and support their team. Unfortunately, there's a criminal element attached to that represents Raider fan, even though they're not Raider fan. That makes it bad for Raider fan.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a good point. Yeah, because that's something totally different. So, yeah. Anything else you guys want to touch on?
No, it was a good one.
Yeah. Aaron, you got any tips and advice? Anything you want to touch on before we get up out of here?
Wow, what time you want to play today? Because we got events tomorrow. I'm here at work until unfortunately about 9 o'clock at night.
I just love how you're working.
Dude, right?
I just love how you're working right now. You're on the clock right now, huh?
I sure am.
So episode 18, I'm gonna get sued from a local Iowa football team, and Ty's gonna get fired.
That's right. Hey, we need to fundraise somehow there, Gabe. Right. So however we can get it.
All right.
I guess we could play at 12.
If I get home earlier, WAP, I'll let you know because I hate the inconvenience you with it being late. I didn't reach out yesterday because I was working a late one and I didn't see anything from you, so I said I'll get with them today. Try to get out a little earlier if I can. But running the show doesn't help because I should be getting some work done and I'm talking about Raider fan. But
I guess we'll see. If you get home early, then yeah, we can play.
All right.
Cool. Aaron, anything you want to touch on if we get up out of here? I appreciate you jumping on. Joe?
Yeah, it was fun. No, nothing I can think of. I can actually hear my daughter. I was gonna take a nap actually, but I think her nap is about up, and I'm gonna go scoop her out and find something to do for the rest of the day.
All right, man, definitely, man. Try to get your brother on here. I understand he's new. You know, it's too early for him to have a ball and chain on. He's married. It's you know.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is that, you know, he's kind of like a seasonal worker, so he doesn't exactly have a whole lot to do right now, but
okay.
I don't know. Maybe he's just camera shy or something.
All right. Cool, man. Definitely. Go ahead, man. Get the little one. I definitely appreciate you jumping on.
I got a fun one since you guys asked for any last comments. What do you guys think about the real life, new Pro Bowl format with all of these weird different events and dodgeball and all that. Like, good for the Pro Bowl. You could care less. Kind of sucks. What is your guys' take on that? I'm not a big fan. I like that they're trying to pump some life into that game, but that's the same thing with the NBA All-Star game, the MLB. Well, actually, all the All-Star games. I know they want there to be more of a competitive element, but I don't know that I care to see NFL players engaging in dodgeball. I like some of the contests, but I think it's a little hokey.
For me, man, we're kind of older, except for Watt, man. We grew up fortunately, we got to see like the '90s era and what sports was, and now we're in this new era. And for me, I've learned that what feels like this era is more of a business, where the era we grew up in was more for the love of the sport, if that makes sense, or the love of the game. And it's like it shows that even now, like with ratings and how, even when Aaron touched on it, like the markets, like if Minnesota had won and Jacksonville won, is that more exciting than the Patriots and versus the Eagles? So things like that, like with the All-Star game, they're trying to creatively, like it's all business now. Like the fun of it. Like I used to want to see my favorite players from different teams go head to head in a football match or a basketball game. Now it's like the main stars don't even play anymore. Like,
nobody wants to get hurt.
Yeah, like it's so crazy now. It's like it's more business. It's more business versus the love of the game for me. So I think
they need to do it like I think they need to do it like how MLB do it, like get home field advantage.
Bingo. I've said that for a couple of years, right on, because I damn sure agree with that. They need something to play for. That's why they don't want to play. I also think, like we said, going back to us being old school, I mean, they showed all the time, and you look at basketball, Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson were best of friends. They played each other. They couldn't stand each other. Yeah. Don't shake hands. There's too much of that going on right now, too, to where, Odell wants to buddy up with Antonio Bryant, and, Eli Apple wants to cheer for his ex-Ohio State running back who had a good play against his team. Like, they need something to play for.
Yeah. And it's not, and their money's not doing it. The money is not enough to give that competitive edge.
Well, think about it. Even 20 years ago, if you made $300,000 a year and you knew the winning team got $50,000, that was something to play for. Yeah. That you should have taken your family to Hawaii. Now you make, I don't know, $15 million a year. It's in Orlando, and the winning prize is still $50,000. Why do you care?
Yeah. Why I risk my $15 million a year to play in a game that don't matter for nothing? Don't mean nothing.
Especially if it's not in Honolulu, because everybody, I mean, guys go to Florida like 3 times a year. I don't know where the Pro Bowl's being played right now, but
half of them from Florida.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Miami, Florida State. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm about as big. I think I'm like as big of a fan of the NFL as you'll find, but I don't care about the Pro Bowl at all. I really don't. One thing I kind of miss. So I don't know if anybody remembers way back in the day, like they used to have like the NFL's fastest man. Like,
I remember that tug of war.
Yeah, I like that because of course the Raiders always had a guy that would win the NFL's fastest man award, but.
I don't know. Darryl Green took a lot of
Darryl Green.
Raiders would have guys like Willie Gault and Alexander Wright and James Jett, who their one trade, if anything, was just being fast. That's
how Davis theory. Can't teach speed. That's how I apply to Madden. You can't teach speed.
That is true though. If it wasn't a Raider, it was Darryl Green. I even right before that when they used to do like the fastest damn football player against the fastest basketball player against the fastest baseball player. When all that stops, when they had that one tug of war or they was playing beach volleyball, and I forgot who that young promising rookie for the Patriots.
Robert Edwards.
Yeah, tore both his knees up. That was the end of that.
Yeah, that's done.
Wonder if Patriots fans remember about him too.
Right?
No, they don't, man. They don't.
Not these he was. I mean, 1 year I think he had like 1,200 yards or something like that. Then that's tough, and I guess I understand why. And yeah, I mean, being a coach and everything, I mean, like even at this level, guys, I mean, it's like you're in a car accident every weekend, So I guess I kind of understand from that aspect, but yeah, it's kind of a farce, really. I don't even understand. Part of me understands why guys don't want to go out there and play because there's nothing on the line. You got nothing to prove. I mean, there's nothing riding on it.
Right.
I know it's an award I know it's like an honor to actually get the nod to be that guy that's like representing the Pro Bowl, but a lot of those guys I know could just as well do without. They're like I like the honor, but I don't want to have to play.
You don't have to play. Yeah.
I mean,
I like
yeah, because it's just leverage for contracts. I made the Pro Bowl 3 times. That's
true. That's true.
Yeah, that's it. That's when it's beneficial. But whether you play it or not doesn't really matter.
But and then you get like a situation like right now with the Raiders, Derek Carr is going, and that's because he's the third alternate. So I guess what that means is that he's like the 5th or 6th best quarterback in the AFC, and he's going to the Pro Bowl. And I love Derek Carr. I'm glad that the Raiders signed him long term. But he had a bad year. He was not that good. He certainly wasn't deserving to play in any All-Star game, but I think he did. So.
Yeah, I mean, if he didn't get hurt last year, you guys were Super Bowl.
We definitely go for them the first round.
You could go. But they discussed this. You could legit, because I'll tell you the other problem I have with it. So let's say Tom Brady, right? I don't care what anybody thinks about him. He's had a great year. He can't go to the Pro Bowl because he's in the Super Bowl. So that's how you get in the scenario with Derek Carr. You almost could go to a format to where you just announce and name the team, the starters, give them a monetary reward, move on and don't play nothing, as opposed to the best of the best not playing and playing dodgeball and dropping footballs from 100-foot drones and all this nonsense.
But it's money, though, Todd. Look how much money it generates. You know what I'm saying? Because if they remove the Pro Bowl after this last week, what does the NFL do in that week? Do they skip it and don't go on the air or nothing for TV?
You're right. It's money, because I don't even like the 2-week format. I like the way it used to be, to where every other year they did that, and that off year they played it the week after. But you're right, they do it so that they can set up these little cities to have 2 weeks worth of activities and events.
They got to build an advertisement for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Commercials used to be $100,000. They talking about $1 million, $2 million commercials for 30 seconds. We're in the era. Sports is a business first, a game second. Unfortunately, So, but
when you buy franchises for $1 billion, obviously they're gonna. They don't.
I'm trying to recoup.
Yeah,
maybe the XFL.
It's like if guys like us owned them, it'd be different. But these guys are just trying to diversify their portfolio.
Sure.
I guess.
Yeah.
So
like you said, I spent $400 to $1 billion. I need 18 weeks to make my money back. I got 18 weeks out of the year to make my money back. Pro Bowl, don't take away nothing. Like you said, drop the drones from the air, throw out the t-shirts. I need all my money back from a business perspective. Yeah, I get it.
They can scrap the Pro Bowl tomorrow. I wouldn't care.
Yeah, I got a question.
Good.
What do y'all think about the XFL coming back?
Ooh-wee. Look, I'm a WWE guy. I got a WWE shirt on as we speak. That being said,
Who's that?
Braun Strowman.
Oh man,
Big
Braun.
Braun.
That's what I'm doing tomorrow night. I'm watching the Royal Rumble and not the Pro Bowl. That's for sure.
Well, you damn right, because I got the WWE. I got the little network. It's gonna be a good day. Me and Cletus sit there and text each other while we watching the matches. That being said, it just depends if they know their place. Like Vince needs to be realistic. You're not competing with the NFL. He's trying to capitalize on the fact that ratings are down and it's a bad year because of all of the controversy surrounding domestic violence and not standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. It doesn't need to be a goofy farce with stupid ass nicknames like "He Hate Me." Just go out there, play football. Don't try to do too much. Realize who you are. Provide a viable outlet and something fun to watch. There's a market for it. There's no more World Football League. There's no more. They don't show Arena League games no more. He's got a market for it. He just needs to be smart about how he does it. If he comes out with the mentality of I'm looking to compete head to head, he's gonna fail miserably. And if he does a bunch of dumbass shit like stupid wrestling type stunts during live football, it's not gonna work. But low key though, I was gonna say low key, and it's funny. For as much shit as people gave Vince, there are several innovations that the XFL came out with that the NFL stole from them. They use to this day right now to start an XFL. So there was something there. He just marketed the shit wrong, and he got carried away.
You know what there's some going around saying that the XFL might have a game. They could possibly make a game, another football game.
I did hear that too.
So,
What'd you say?
because like since the XFL is coming back, there might be another football game instead of Madden coming out. So
I don't like it. I bet if they did anything, it'd be like Blitz the League or something.
like 2K might make it.
What's that? Maybe, I don't know, but who'd buy it though? I mean, then if like the reason why you have, in my opinion, the reason why Madden is kind of where it's at right now is because you got the NFL associated with it. 2K actually, they had like the whole Legends game a couple of years back, and that didn't go over so well. And I think it's kind of funny how people always, oh yeah, it's like it's crazy how they always blame Madden for this, how they always blame EA Sports for this. But I mean, this is exactly what the NFL wants, and it makes perfect sense actually, because I remember back when they kind of started off on this whole thing, that one year, Madden 2005, 2K5 was like for $19, right? And that's kind of how they got everybody to switch over, and it was a really good game too besides. But like I've always, like, you got to look at it from this vantage point, is that, okay, if you're selling your game for $19 with the intent of, okay, we're going to ship out more, we'll earn a little less, but then that way people are kind of going to be buying our stuff later on. But the NFL doesn't make as much of a cut of that anymore. I mean, if they're making like, I don't know, 20% from every video game, 20% of $19 isn't as much as 20% of $59. So I think it was the NFL actually that wanted to have the single developer make a football game, and I think they kind of just gave it out to the highest bidder, which of course was EA. But I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me, because you may have had a few people that bought both 2K and Madden in that year, but most people just bought one or the other. So basically, you're selling the same amount of football games, and you're not making quite as much money because you got these two brands that are in competition with each other. So by having, I mean, and good on the NFL. I mean, they were able to sell the rights to Madden exclusively or to EA exclusively. They get more money. And of course, they let EA take all the heat as far as, oh, okay, well, yeah, you're the one that drove 2K out of business. I mean, 2K could finance another football game. They could do it right now, but if it doesn't have the NFL name on it, it's kind of like, it's not going to be worth all they invest into it, I guess.
It's NFL Blitz if they do that. It's a new version of NFL Blitz.
I'll take NFL Blitz.
See, my problem with Madden, and I've talked about this with Gates for a while, and here's my problem with Madden. I don't care that only EA makes it, but what I think they should strongly look at is making two different modes. They should make one game that's centered around MUT, and they should make another game that's centered around franchise and online, because MUT is what drives the Madden franchise. People are spending money on cards and building these teams. So that's all they have in mind when they tweak and make modifications and patches to these games. We don't have another outlet to play anything else. We're direct football fans, so whether the product is crappy for us or not, we're going to play it because we enjoy the game and we enjoy football. But we as franchise and online players suffer because the game is not made with us in mind. Even all of the innovations, they're made to dumb the game down so that noobs can hop on the sticks and feel good about themselves and not have to put in a bunch of time to play the game. And they took away all of the user-oriented things and the things that's good. So I really wish that somebody, you got stock in them, Gates, tell your boy Rex, hey, can we look at a franchise edition of the game? They're not going to lose money. Anyway, look at it.
They already had one.
And funny you say that it's like, even in the shareholders meeting, like when I do the EA shareholders meeting every quarter, when they talk about all the EA titles and things like that, when it gets to Madden, that's all they speak on, man, is MUT, man. That's all they speak on is MUT. Again, it's business first, man. Unfortunately, it's business first. Like Aaron spoke on, they won the auction for the 15-year license. They outbid 2K by some astronomical number. I would love the idea of just a CFM online Madden. Get me. I don't want no parts of what I tried. It's horrible to me. Like the running around, everybody has the same players, the same cards. You got to do all these obstacles. I just want to play football, man. I ain't trying to do all that. Like I don't need 99 guys, 99 overall guys, and this guy got ankle breaker, traits where he got like some super juke now. Like come on, man. Like, it's not, it's arcadish. I don't want to do that. I agree. But unfortunately, guys, everything now is business first, the love is second. So us as gamers have to adjust to that, or because there is no other football game coming. I mean, maybe NCAA, but they're all else.
That's more in the future, though. More in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I was a huge fan of Joe Montana football when when that was around, like the Sega years and things like that. Now there's no competition, so when there's no competition, you can put out whatever because you control the market. So
Mutant League football, guys.
Yeah, same thing with basketball
on PSN.
Yeah, same thing with basketball and 2K. Like 2K can put out whatever they want to do. They stole every mechanic from EA and NBA Live, and then made it graphically look better, and then put NBA Live out of business, and now they can do whatever they want because it's like no competition.
Man, speaking of which, can we get a damn boxing game again?
Ain't happening.
You can't put a boxing. To me, Aaron, you probably go back to it, Ty, you too, man. The reason why it's all crazy, man, is the O'Bannon brothers, man. The O'Bannon brothers.
They messed it all up.
They messed it up, man. They messed it up. Tyson also tried to do it early on back in the day, and I get it. I work hard, and they want to put. You can't. How you got a boxing game? You don't put Floyd Mayweather on it. And is he wrong to ask for $100 million up front? When he know they can sell 1 billion copies. You know what I'm saying? So
Floyd gonna want $50 million up front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm just saying. I mean, it's a rights and likeness thing. It's rights and likenesses versus money up front, money on the back end, the business aspect of it. I would love another fight night. Fight night was it for me. I loved it. But then, there's only so many old boxers or guys you can have up there. Somebody wants to be Floyd. Somebody wants to be this guy.
Here's my perspective on that. Yeah, you put Mayweather on the box. Okay, well, who else is in the game?
Right.
Except for Ali and Frazier and Sugar Ray Robinson. Like, I mean, sorry, Ty, sorry to burst your bubble like this, but boxing, just people don't care. Especially, I couldn't tell you who the heavyweight champion is, and I wish I.
But I disagree with that. I think boxing is a lot more viable than people think. People got down on boxing when the UFC got hot. UFC's bubble been burst for about 2 years now. They do too many pay-per-views. They can't market their own stars. When John Jones got caught up in all his nonsense, Rousey got knocked out, and Conor decided he wanted to be a mainstream guy. They're done. Boxing, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's super popular, but
they have a game though.
Hardcore niche of boxing fans out there that's enough to support the game. They got good young stars. You got Canelo. You still got Pacquiao. You got Mayweather. You got Anthony Joshua now in England, the heavyweight scene. You got Deontay Wilder. There's a lot of people out there that they can use to make and market a damn good game.
But why does UFC have a game and boxing doesn't? Because UFC is ran by 2 guys or a small group of guys who say, yeah, we'll give us a check and we'll give you the likeness and the player likeness and the names, versus boxing where everybody's individual. You can't say that. You're just like, all the guys you didn't Canelo, I want to be on we want to make this boxing game. Give me 20 million. Give me this, give me that, give me this. Versus giving, UFC one whole lump sum of check and getting, the rights and likenesses to everybody.
No, I agree with the business. I'm just stating that, as a boxing fan and somebody that actually likes combat games like that, I miss having a boxing game out there. I definitely understand and know from a business standpoint why it doesn't happen, but I definitely think there's enough stars in boxing to make a really good game that's entertaining that a lot of people would enjoy.
Yeah, like I think Adrian Broner. I would like to play with Adrian Broner.
Right?
I would like to play with him.
Yeah. AB?
Differences though too is that football is football and basketball is basketball and hockey is hockey, but there's so many like fighting games out there. I mean, it's like if people want to get their fill of like a combat sport, like I don't think like I'll be honest, even for a guy like me, I'll just go play Street Fighter. I don't need to play like UFC or boxing, even though I think boxing, I think they could make a boxing game a lot easier than they could make a fighting game, like a UFC game.
Yeah,
Because
agree.
UFC, they got all those grapples and holds. And I remember like trying one of the earlier games out, and it was like, this is like way too much stuff. But like boxing, you press, like I remember it's like Ready to Rumble boxing when I had my Dreamcast back in the day. That was fun. I mean, I enjoyed that. But, you know, and that was also like pretty colorful, as cartoony. I mean, you know, you got like some of these fighters here, and it's not like where you're talking about a pro franchise where you got like these logos and colors and stuff like that. It's like all these gritty fighters, and like they probably need too much differentiating one guy from another. Whereas, you know, like Street Fight or something like that, you got your Ryu, you got your Bison, you got Blanca, and all those guys, and they're all like quite unique and everything. I don't know. I mean, I can't see them come up with a boxing game, especially if they don't have any. It's not like when, you know, I wish it was that way. I mean, I wish it was back like in the day when the heavyweight championship was like a huge deal, like Sugar Ray Leonard or, you know, Muhammad Ali, or even like in the past like 25 years with like Tyson or
Lennox Lewis,
Evander Holyfield and stuff. But it's not that way.
Tell you what, you get Wilder in Anthony Joshua in the ring, it's gonna come back.
I don't know those guys, but I mean, I'm sure they're great, and I'm sure that the fighters nowadays are probably better than what they even had before. But it's just not a draw. I mean,
you want to know something?
King ruined it or what? But
there's an English promoter called golly, his name just slipped my mind. Eddie Hearn. This guy's got a promotion in England, and he did an interview that I thought was so on point, because what he was stating was, even though Don King, people view Don King as negative for the sport, at the end of the day, he was an ambassador for the sport and a showman, and he promoted fighters. Now, it didn't mean he was a good person. He ripped off his fighters, but he understood as a showman how to promote a fight. And what I think is missing in the fight game today are there are no more promoters. If you look at Golden Boy, which is Oscar and Bernard, you look at Bob Arum, they're not promoting anybody. They're just providing a venue for people to fight. So when they get back to promoting these fighters and branding them and turning them into brands, that's when they'll probably start to take off again.
Yeah, maybe. But again, it's hard when business is first. You know, that's why I really like Mayweather, man. Outside the ring, he's super smart. He understands that he's the brand versus, you know, the promotion is the brand. He buys the venue, rents the venue, you know, buys the venue, sells the tickets, you know, recoups the purse, you know, money on the back. I mean, the things he's done is amazing outside of the ring. You know, it's a phenomenal blueprint that a lot of people don't follow, and it's not really set up to structure that way, Ty. I mean, it's almost like, you know, not to get too far off topic, but it's almost like how the music game is, where artist development and things like that, where all that's gone. It's like you have to already be a brand as soon as you come in. Same thing as boxing. Same thing as sports.
Everything's about social media, man.
Yeah, it's like even with sports, like that's why Aaron says he doesn't care to see another boxing game, because it's like them people don't have a name. They don't have a name. They don't have a brand. They don't have nothing to support them. So,
well, but once again, going back to Wop's original question, that's why I love him or hate him, and people tend to hate him because of what his product represents. Nobody can't take away from what Vince McMahon has done, because what we're talking about is what Vince McMahon has done for 25, 30 years. It continues.
Wrestling's been around since what, the 60s, late 60s, late 70s. And he's outlasted every brand that around. WCW bought them.
Well, think about it. This Monday that just passed, they did a reunion show because Monday Night Raw has been going on for 25 years. No other television show can say for 52 weeks a year for 25 years they put out a product. Like, that in and of itself is phenomenal.
I mean, I'm just saying, just the as long as the brand WWE's been around, or WWF before it was WWE, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
to go from that to almost go bankrupt, to reinventing yourself, to now eliminate every competition, buying every brand that ever tried to compete against you is amazing, man. It's something you just can't take that away from him. You just can't.
Yeah, like,
you can't do it. Don't do it. I mean, so Will, to answer it's cool to see the FXL come back, but like Ty said, understand your place, bro. Like, don't come try to come in this lane. You know, NFL is bigger than God on Sunday. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like when you talk Sunday, you talk NFL. At least from September to January, it's NFL Sunday. That's just NFL Sunday. Church don't matter. Nothing matters. NFL Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So XFL, I think for them to be successful, I would stay away from the months the NFL are coming on and try to watch smaller markets that could really support them. And what I think would really be dope if they let fans actually own shares of the teams that they go into these cities of, like how Green Bay fans actually own the team. I think that would be something super cool, and something that can really keep the league sustainable. If they allow fans to buy shares of every team, and which would then turn the owner seats and things like that. So that's my opinion.
It's weird. It's weird though, like how he trying to do it. He doing it. He said it's gonna start 2020 on January. So that's playoff NFL football. He wants to start the season on. It sounds like suicide to me,
But Vince, the one thing, you're right. But Vince is smart, man. Like he failed the first time, and any successful businessman, I'll probably tell you that those failures are what continue to stoke their creative juices to do something different. I definitely think he's going to look at what he did wrong that last time and totally tweak that formula. Like having wrestling commentators is, pretending that NFL announcers and dumbass commercials of being allowed access inside the women's locker room, like all of that stupid shit. I think he's going to get back to a more football-oriented format as opposed to an entertainment wrestling-based format. I don't think it's going to work necessarily, but if he does it right, it's a viable opportunity. Like all of us here are sports fans, and I'm going to tell you right now, I hate, like, I don't know, probably March to September with a passion.
Yeah.
Baseball ain't really up and running. Basketball's almost over. Hockey's almost over. Football is gone. NFL Network is like 9,000 days to camp countdown every single day. When you hear about 9,000, the rookie in Southeast Arkansas, North Dakota College, who they think might have a shot at being undrafted, 3-hour specials. It's just a garbage time of the year. So if he does it right, I mean, he's got content that people may be willing to watch.
January, that's prime playoff football.
Yeah, that's too soon.
Yeah,
I'd be looking at February at the earliest from him.
Yeah, I see like March, maybe March or February.
Yeah, well, we'll see, man. He failed the first time. Hopefully, he took that time and did a bunch of research, and he can get it back the second time. But I'm gonna go ahead, man. Close this show out, man. Appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging around with me this long. Definitely appreciate it. Little ones are running around out of control. Good Lord, we got to work on PR media training, this week. I didn't get a chance to do a good recap midweek, so hopefully this show definitely made up for it. I know Aaron's little one's probably screaming in the background. We just don't hear.
Yeah, well, no, we got Paw Patrol on now. She was up for a little bit, but I had to finally get out of the room and yeah. You want to say hi? Say hi.
Hello, little one.
Oh, she's shy.
I'm good.
I can't. I missed out on that whole XFL conversation. I was listening to you guys, and I was like, but I was changing poopy diapers too, yeah. So couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah. Do you have a quick comment on XFL?
Oh, it's stupid. I mean, I don't know. I just remember reading up about it the other day, and I think that Vince McMahon kind of season in what with all the controversy in the NFL this past year and everything. And I heard all the stuff about, no criminal records and no protest for the national anthem and stuff like that. Of course, while he's saying this, one of his guys for the WWF, or I still call it WWF, but one of his guys for the WWE got charged with rape over the last week. So kind of interesting timing there. I just see it as kind of, I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be cool. I mean, good things come in twos, but I don't know. I just don't see. I mean, they had like the USFL way back when. They had the XFL. They had the UFL. If anybody remembers that, for like that was like around for a little bit, and all these leagues, they were all gone in 3 years. So
The NFL machine is too big.
The only thing I'll say, the problem with all of them leagues, and that's why I said this, to go back to one of Vince's guys, The Rock, Vince needs to know his role. Everybody came out with the mentality of we're going to provide direct head-to-head competition with the NFL, which doomed them from the start because you're not. Not since the AFL NFL merger is anybody even close. No one's going to challenge them. But if they can focus on just providing a fun outlet for football junkies who don't want to see 9,000 weeks of camp draft show countdowns, they might be all right.
I do love the draft. I got to admit that.
I do too for a day or two. I don't love it from February to damn May or whatever the hell it goes off. I don't need to know the personal life story of the 5th round walk-on at Rutgers Junior College Community that is missing a toe and the struggle he had getting out the hood for the 8,000th time.
Do you guys watch real quick? Do you guys watch Ballers?
Yeah, I love Ballers.
No, I don't. I don't have HBO or whatnot.
Love Ballers.
So to see that is just like how you said, Aaron, that Vince McMahon said, "Hey, no criminal records, no things like that." And a week later, Rake comes out. The machine that the NFL had is so powerful. Even if he tries, XFL doesn't make it past 2 seasons. It's such power in the NFL. If you ever get a chance, Aaron, man, use the internet and you can watch it for free. Again, we're going live on YouTube. I'm not.
Only thing I'm gonna say is the only thing I'm gonna say, and no, I don't think the XFL is capable. However, the only thing I'm gonna say about that, the machine was just as powerful in the '60s when a group of renegades decided in the AFL, we're gonna throw the football around, we're gonna air it out, we're gonna have some fun here. And lo and behold, to this day, the Jets, Chargers, Broncos, etc. exist, and the machine was even more powerful then.
Yeah, but they are
Good Old Boys Network.
They're still part of that same machine, though. Same machine. So
I don't buy that. I don't think that they could ever compete because one thing is that he talked about like if teams had like cities had a stake in these teams. I imagine all this stuff is going to be run by Vince McMahon. I don't know. I know he's probably like a billionaire by now, but I don't think he's any more rich than any of the other millionaires or any of the other guys that are in the NFL. And to be quite honest, the reason why it did get to be a merger was because because they wanted to prevent the bidding war. It was all about keeping wages down for the players.
Exactly.
And you had guys like you had them actually poaching talent because guys like Joe Namath, he's being offered like $100,000 or something like that from the Jets, and the NFL isn't. They're like, we don't want to have to pay guys this much. So it was kind of a way to keep wages down.
But in addition to the bidding war, the AFL was a real viable entity. The NFL got a rude awakening when they lost the contract to CBS because CBS said, we about to take a chance on seeing these crazy guys with these green and white uniforms, the Jets, do these carnival shows at halftime. So you're right. I'm not saying the XFL can do that. I'm just stating that it's not impossible. I don't think Vince has the right form to do it, and he needs a lot more help. But if you had the right form, I think it's possible. I don't think Vince has that. By himself, he can't deal with that monster.
No.
And I tell you what, it pains me to say, but I don't think that football is, and, sometimes I struggle with this stuff as a coach myself. Like the health aspect, people are kind of turned off by it a little bit. And
I think so.
It's like, you take a look back at like what they were doing like 10 years ago with like I don't know, you guys remember like Jacked Up when they did that on ESPN? It's like it's snuff film anymore, but I don't think I don't think it's I just quite simply I don't think there's quite as much of an appetite as maybe there once was. And I think the whole Kaepernick thing and you got all these other situations going on too. I don't think that helps matters at all. I think Vince is trying to capitalize on that. And I know he's done a lot as far as like the WWE is concerned, and he has, his big thing was like buying up talent, like getting rid of the territory system that they had way back then. But I don't think he's as smart as some people think he is, because he wants like being like making movies and do all these other pet projects. He wants to be like a whole big entertainment mogul, I think. But what are you going to do? Your players aren't going to be as good if there's not going to be any loyalty to like these XFL teams. If a guy can go to the NFL from the XFL, he'll leave by halftime. You don't have any of these cities that have like entrenched franchises, stuff like that. I mean, if he kind of sticks to what, if he doesn't like try to fly too close to the sun, I guess you could say, if he knows that he'll never be anything more than just like kind of a minor league operation to the NFL, then he might be all right. But
that's the piece I'm saying. See, I agree with that.
Don't get beside yourself. Don't get beside yourself.
His lane. Trust me when I tell you, the first time Johnny Manziel lines up to play Tim Tebow, which are the type of dudes that he'll probably try to target, that are names, people are going to watch that.
And it's nice too, because they could conceivably like get broadcasting anywhere. I mean, they could broadcast on YouTube if they wanted to, you know. Yeah. I mean, they don't have to necessarily be on a network anymore to get the press.
He has his own network, WWE network. He can broadcast the games on there.
Yeah, exactly. They could do that. So I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of like I don't know if you if you know your role, I guess, and you might be all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of this stuff, I'm kind of like, why are you doing this? I mean, you even keeping the name XFL. XFL is a joke, you know. I mean, people don't know that as a respectable football league. People have fonder memories. People have more respect for the USFL name. I'm talking about the actual league, not what we got going on here. Yeah. People have more respect for that than they do.
What's wrong with our USFL? Nah.
That was before my time, but I tell you what, man. I mean, I remember like kind of watching the documentary before Donald Trump got his claws into it. It seemed like they had a pretty good thing going, and they could have kept it going, but flew too close to the sun again.
Yeah. Well, they're at. You know what's funny? I'm a little bit of an old head in here, so I actually remember when that formed. I actually think the problem was they didn't have enough money. Besides Trump, they had everything in place and was this close. And if you look at the talent that came out of this, Steve Young, Jim Kelly, Herschel Walker, they had Reggie White. I mean, if they just would have had some more ownership with enough money to keep them going, because they got bankrupted. That's what killed them. It wasn't ratings. It wasn't bad business. They didn't have
it's hard to compete. It's like asking somebody who it's like saying, yo, you've been driving a Bentley all this time, and I'm going to give you this Hyundai for the first time. And it could have everything that the Bentley has. It's like, well, why would I drive that if I've been driving this the whole time? It's like, you know, the brand loyalty was so different. You know what I'm saying? So that's, you know, when you're trying to build that brand to play at that, you know, my brand is here, but I'm trying to get it to here. You'll go broke so fast. Like if they didn't try to compete, like Aaron said, fly too close to the sun, they could have probably still been around. They probably could have still been around. But it's like, well, how's the NFL getting them ratings and things like that? They're spending millions and billions of dollars to get that. You can't just dive into that, you know. You can't just dive into that. It's hard. It's hard, man.
Yeah, and I think it's so funny. I mean, like some of these things that, you know, he says right now, and I know everybody's kind of up in arms about the whole, you know, Colin Kaepernick thing one way or another. But yeah, don't worry, it's this commercial. We'll get back on it, okay? But I just think that, you know, it's one of those things. NFL's been down this road before. They've had controversy left, right, and center. And if that's going to be one of your big things, and you know, you really don't have much to stand on. One thing I do think is kind of interesting is that they're talking about having like shorter games, like having games that are only going to last 2 hours. That stuff like that. That's actually kind of interesting to me. But like before, it's like, and they're not going to go down this road now because the WWE is a lot different too. But like when it was the XFL before, it was just like it was just like very gimmicky. It's like they didn't have enough substance. They just, okay, let's have the players date the cheerleaders and stuff like this. And
that was nonsense.
That's stupid. That's not going to fly for long. You got to have something to, I don't know. It just, looking back on it, was no surprise that they failed. And who knows, maybe he learned something, but then again, he does all these other things. He puts out all these movies and he loses money on them. So
Yeah.
Who knows? I think he's just, Vince McMahon just
Trying, just
a
winging
big
it.
shot, I guess. He's bored. He's 77 years old or whatever, and he's got a lot of money to burn yet, I guess.
Yeah. Well, again, man, I appreciate you guys joining in. Man, I'm gonna end this show. Again, little ones are running all around crazy. I gotta get up out of here. Thanks, Aaron, man. Appreciate it. Welcome back anytime. It's been great to hear from you. Looking forward to playing you week 17. WAP and Ty lockup. Hopefully later on this evening. That'll be definitely a good game to watch. And I'm about to go ahead and play the Saints here. Try to get past him real quick and then, focus on the Panthers. Again, man, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Closing comments, Ty?
No, sir. Just I know
Closing comments. Just hit me with some comments.
No disagreement. Just a little closing comment. I noticed. I don't know if it's a lack of excitement in the league, but it looks like or appears we've hit a wall in the last week or two. It's been a lot quieter in the chat. We went from advancing early and getting games knocked out to all of a sudden 3, 4, 5 games in advance time not being played. So I don't know what's happened, but ideally it'd be great if we can get back to knocking out our games.
Cool. I might have to spark some interest. Might talk some trash on a midweek recapping and see if I can fire some people up.
It's a lot easier to get excited about your game when you don't have some guys in the league that are 2-8 by now. You know what I'm talking about? So
yeah,
some guys probably lose interest real quick that way.
Yeah. Cool. WAP, any closing remarks?
And then it's
Cool. Aaron, you got anything?
Well, not really. Go Raiders, I guess. Go Lone Tree.
Cool. All right, man. I appreciate you boys for tuning in and you boys for joining me on the show. Mark Gatesman on his box. I'm out of here.
Boom.